He is widely known as the man who talks too much. His worst enemies are Postmaster P and Pee-wee Herman. He said Hellraiser was overrated and Leprechaun Origins wouldn't suck. He's the full-blooded half-Mexican, JP. Finally, we have the man who doesn't talk enough. He is best friends with Sean S. Cunningham. His favorite horror movie is Gummo. He is your favorite Jew and mine, Jeremy. Together they are known for extending a helping hand to vampircons everywhere. They are the 22 shots of Moodz and horror.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 49 of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horrors coming at you live. I am your host, Moodz616, and of course, I've always got my two virgin voyeurs with me.
Chainsaw Massacre.
And he is Ruler 22, also known as Jeremy, and of course, we got the Mexican himself, Double Shot J.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Also known as JP. What's going on, homies?
Yeah. What up, guys?
You fuckers, I missed you.
I know, right? How long's it been now?
3 weeks.
It's been 3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks.
I thought you guys were going to get a little more butthurt over the virgin voyeur thing. I couldn't think of any other words that started with V to go with voyeur. Because it is pertaining to Sleep Tight, right? Kind of, I guess.
I would say so, I think that's the major theme of the movie.
The V's, man, those are tough words,
Voyeur.
I couldn't think. Virgin? I don't know.
Virgin vagina, there you go.
Yeah, so what has been going on, man? It's been 3 weeks, and it actually seems like it's been longer.
It does.
I don't know, man. I was so messed up. Like last week, I'm all ready to go and record the show, and I'm like, hey guys, what time are we recording at? And Jeremy's like, what the fuck? I'm on fucking set.
I told you 2 months ago.
Dude, well, that's precisely why I don't remember, because I've been so busy. I was out of town and I just kind of forgot that you were on the set that day, and I just assumed that we were recording. I'm like all ready to go. I'm literally sitting in the same spot I am right now, all ready to go. And I'm like, fuck.
And you and JP ended up talking for 8 hours.
Yeah. And I mean, that's pretty much all we could do. But yeah, so what's been going on, guys? I know everyone's been really busy. So
besides JP. You been busy, JP?
Nope, not really. I have not been that busy.
I
had a busy week. The first week when we didn't record, I was kind of relieved because I had a really busy week at work. I told you guys about having to fire that woman and, lost another person. We was working on hiring 2 new people, and it was a headache because all of our applications were shit. We did like a shit ton of interviews, and, I was busy that week. But besides that, I mean, I'm just chilling, waiting on you guys to return.
Did you find anybody?
I did. I hired this 17-year-old girl, which will probably end up terrible, and then this college kid who can work like 3 days a week. So probably bad hires, but hey, we needed somebody, and we went through literally every application that we had and interviewed every single person, and those 2 were our best.
Wow.
Wow, that should say something.
Yes, exactly.
I guess in JP's neck of the woods. Good, good thing
well,
Tom Savini isn't
even
coming in.
It's not even my neck of the woods. Like, I travel a little bit for work, and I hate that town. The town is, filled with junkies, and it's a bad town. But Tom Savini actually did come stay there a few times before I worked there. We actually had, the guys who host that MTV show Catfish?
Yeah.
Those 2 guys filmed an episode in our hotel a few weeks back. I thought it was ridiculous.
Was there like trucks and shit?
Not really. They were kind of a small crew. They had a lot of like PAs and stuff like that. But they were very like pampered in terms of like they would just stop and then like brush dude's mustache and like put makeup on him and like spray like smelling stuff on him, and dude would just like hold his hands out to his side while they like just like mess with his eyelashes and he touched up his hair and stuff. And I was just like, I didn't
unfamiliar with this.
Yeah, I didn't really think that like those guys were as Hollywood as Holly can be,
Well, they're on TV, man.
Yeah, but I just when you even watch that show, it seems like it's a little more small production and just the 2 guys and stuff like that. But it's a little bigger than I thought. Definitely had like non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that. come through the hotel.
Have JP just walk by in the background.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I was really in front of the camera at all during the filming, but it was funny because as they were staying at our hotel, they went over to the bar one night and some like chick like flipped out and was like, "Oh my God, it's, Nev or whatever his name is." And they had to leave there. But it was hilarious because every single person in the hotel, like my coworkers and the guests, like nobody even came up to him. So it's like not very many people care in my area, with my people circle.
And he should have just ran in the background, but like 22 shots of Moodz and horror, bitches. And ran.
What up? Yeah. Well, they took down one of our pictures in one of our rooms, and they just left it there for us to put back. And it's not a picture where it's just you hang it on a nail. Like they're secured to the wall so that people don't knock them down and steal them and shit.
You just run up to the camera, grab the mic, and be like,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
"Yeah."
So how'd your couple weeks go, Jeremy?
Pretty solid. I didn't do much the week of Cinema Wasteland, and if Moodz wasn't a little bitch and answered my fucking messaging and telling me if he could pick me up from the fucking train, I would have came. Moodz.
You were actually you know what? I completely didn't even see it. We probably couldn't have though.
I know,
at that
you're
time.
probably too piss-ass drunk to even drive.
Probably.
You could have
get as
just
shit-faced as last year?
No, not at all. No, not even
Have fun,
close
though?
to that. I mean, no, because this year I actually ate food.
Yeah.
I actually put something in my stomach and kept it, good. So no, I didn't have a repeat of. Oh man, it was so much fun, man. So much fun. Speaking of Tom Savini, actually met him. And it was kind of funny, man. I actually brought up something that I actually kind of shocked him a little bit. He probably hears the same questions over and over again. Of course, it was the Day of the Dead 30th anniversary at Wasteland. So I'm sure a lot of people were talking about Day of the Dead and stuff. And
they'll come and be like, how was it working with George Romero?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the questions he gets all day.
And to be honest, I really just tried to avoid like all that type of conversation. So I asked him about a film that he did a cameo in called "It's My Birthday and I'll Die If I Want to," and he looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, I don't really talk about that one." And I started laughing, and I was like, "Oh, come on, Tom, let's talk about that." I'm like, "How did you get involved with that?" And he goes, "To be honest, it was actually students of mine, from his effects school. They were making this film and." They were putting it together, and then they asked him if they could, if he could do a part in the film, and he's like, okay, whatever. And he's like, yeah, that movie sucks.
Was the movie shitty?
No, it's actually really not that bad. And one cool thing about the film is that, it's got good effects, and that's one really, but it just seems like Tom Savini's character is totally just thrown into the film. You could tell he was just kind of put into a part. And so I wanted to ask him about it, but I didn't know it was made by his film students. So, so that was actually kind of interesting. So I learned something there, but
yeah. And he actually, didn't he say that nobody ever asked him about that film before?
Yeah, he said no one had ever brought that up before, and I was like, well, I kind of jokingly said, I'm like, well, because I'm probably one of 4 people that's actually seen it. And he kind of laughed, but no, he was cool, man. He wasn't very grumpy and stuff, and he had his grandchild with him and stuff, so he was cool, man.
What a great place to bring your grandchild, fucking Cinema Wasteland.
Well, he's probably like 12 years old or something.
A whole bunch of fucking weirdos drinking beer and...
Yeah, but it's not as...
You're talking about our
people,
dickhead.
I am talking about your people.
To be honest, everyone's super nice. And
I'm not saying they're nice. They're just everybody drinks beer and they talk about tits and fucked up movies for a whole weekend.
There's definitely some tables that probably scare some children, that's for sure. But yeah, so I talked to Tom, got his autograph. I talked to Gary Klar. I think that's how he pronounces the name. I'm not quite sure. It's a really weird name. He's a cool guy. He played Steel in the film. Really interesting guy. Actually, when we were out, in the hotel restaurant having some drinks, me and the wife there, and him and Joe Planto were sitting there bullshitting all night and stuff. So we had a little bit of conversation with them. But man, Joe Planto, the guy who plays Rhodes, really, really old looking now.
Yeah.
He's just like kind of frail and long hair and it's all great. It's very interesting to see what they look like now, but very cool guys. And, yeah, I mean, I can't say enough good things about Wasteland. It was so much fun. Everyone I met, Aaron Brown was really cool. Among people, the whole cast of Pieces of Talent, everyone was awesome. Christy Ray actually told my wife that she had a crush on me. I was like, that is the funniest shit I've ever heard.
She wants your cock.
Yeah, and David Long was amazing. He was so much fun. He actually hung out and came up to the hotel room and he was just doing his thing, man, just making his rounds and great times, but so much good people, good atmosphere, lots of drinks, nothing really, over the top happened and stuff, but some really interesting things. Like there was actually, I guess this group of friends kind of staged a zombie attack. And the interesting thing about this is that it just came right out of the blue. Like we were outside having a smoke, having a beer in broad daylight, and all of a sudden this girl just starts getting attacked and they're ripping guts out. But the interesting thing is that, the people that dressed up like zombies, they did a good job with their makeup. Like you can tell it was like hours worth of effort. I was like, this is fucking crazy. But that, just kind of added to the, the atmosphere and the fun of it and stuff. And
Moodz picked up smoking again. Shame, shame, shame.
I know. But yeah, Saturday night was really fun. It was kind of a big party night, and I got to finally meet Tom, also known as the Headbanger, of course, from Horrors Balls channel. Such a great guy. I couldn't say enough good things about him. We hung out all night, and I think we basically closed down the party at like 4:30 or 5 in the morning. Good times. Dave was there, Mr. Parker, really cool guy. I just can't say enough good things, man. Wasteland it was such a blast. I spent insanely way too much money.
Figured that would happen.
I just picked up so much. The funny thing is I grabbed probably half that stuff in the first half an hour I was there, because when you have VIP pass, you can get half an hour. You can get in a half an hour early. So I just booked my way over to the toe tag table and grabbed like everything out of there. I even grabbed some like last copies and shit. They only had like one copy, so that was kind of a bonus to have that. And of course, talk with Fred and Shelby, and they were really cool.
They were cool last year.
Really, really cool, man. And, I bought enough stuff there that even, Shelby threw in an extra shirt for me and for free and stuff. It was just great. I couldn't say anything bad about it. It was really good times. So, unfortunately, it was kind of funny, actually, because at the hotel, they usually have everyone stay like on the third floor, but they were renovating the whole third floor. So half the people like had to stay over at the Super 8.
Oh, that's shitty.
But the funny thing is, though, I actually went over there. Me and Dave, Mr. Parker, went over there his friends were doing like a little private screening of this little short film that they made. So we went and watched in this hotel room, and I walked into the room and I go, what the fuck is this? So we're spending $100 a night at the Holiday Inn, and we don't have, microwaves or mini fridges or anything in our rooms. I go in there and I go, what the fuck? They got a microwave and a mini fridge, and they're paying like $70 a night. I'm like, fucking bullshit, man. So
were all you guys on the same floor again, or no?
We were on the second floor. That's pretty much where everyone was. So
yeah, I bet you it was loud as fuck.
We never noticed anything.
Yeah,
we never really. It wasn't even that bad, to be honest. And actually, a lot of people said that it wasn't overly loud, like
not like
where
last year.
No, just it was more outside.
Were you at the end, or were you in the middle again? Like,
we were actually kind of in the middle.
Oh yeah. So we got lucky because we were at the end, so we weren't next to anybody.
Yeah, you got to get the end in hotel rooms or hotel floors. The end's where it's at.
Yeah, I don't know. I really didn't notice anything, to be honest, but then again, I was also up until the end of like every night, so didn't really notice. But yeah, really good time.
How was the Christmas Story house?
The Christmas Story house, we actually never made it to it.
Oh, that's fucking lame. I would have been pissed.
Yeah, we never got around to it. Well, because what happened was when we were driving into Wasteland, we were about 10 minutes from the hotel, and we actually blew a tire, which you guys seen the pictures and stuff. So we had to deal with that on Friday before Wasteland opened, and we were going to do that during the day. So we had to take the car into this Conrad's place, get the tire replaced and stuff, and that took a couple hours, and then we went and ate, and we just didn't really have time because I didn't want to be late for the 4:30 opening, right? So
he's first in line. Come on.
Actually, I was probably second or third.
He has money. He's money falling out of his pockets. Come on.
Yeah, it was just fucking burning a hole in my pocket, man. I'm pretty sure the money wasn't in my pocket. It was like down in my shoes. It literally burnt a hole.
He's just stripping it.
But no, it was a fantastic trip, man. Hit up a Cleveland Indians game on Sunday. Went back to Toronto for the home opener in Toronto for the Jays.
Like you were supposed to. Fucking.
Yeah. Oh, man. Honestly, man, if the dollar wasn't so shitty, man, the hotel was so bad, too. Like, we were getting 71 cents on the dollar. It was so bad. So that was kind of hindered a little bit of, productivity for us, doing other things and stuff. Because it was really, really expensive. So
JP comes in October. You have to come.
But, yeah. But, good thing, the wife had a really great time. She didn't really know what to expect because at first she was a little freaked out. She's like expecting, a lot of weirdos and just crazy partying and just kind of things that are outside of her bubble a little bit, like, but then she was fascinated how nice everybody was, and she wants to go back in October. She's
That's
like,
awesome.
We were driving back to Toronto, and she turns to me and she goes, I want to go back in October. She's like, when do they announce the guests for October? And I said, I don't know. I think pretty quick. And then, honestly, we got into Toronto and they announced that for the October show, they're doing the 25th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 reunion. So Jeff Burr's going to be there and a bunch of other people. And I was like, fucking A. I'm like, here you go, Aaron. She's like, awesome. She's like, yeah, we should really try and go back in October. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. We just traveled 3,500 miles. So, but
gotta come here though.
If we could, man, we definitely go back. But so it's good to know that she's into it. So. But yeah, really, really good times. So
sounds amazing, dude. Good for you having all that fun.
Yeah, I had such a blast. It was nice to just get out of where I've been so swamped in, and it just took my mind off everything, and it was just like surrounded by goodness.
By goodness,
it was just so much fun, man. Picked up some really cool stuff. I found this awesome Phantasm hat that I'm rocking right now, but I just love it.
I can see your bald head.
My bald, yeah, I actually shaved my head again. So.
With your beard.
Yeah, I got this massive fucking beard, shaved ass head. So, but yeah, so then I get home and then I'm back, and I was just finishing up my graveyard shift, so I'm back on regular shift. So I'm all fucked up right now. Like I had no time to watch films this week, so I'm all swamped, and that's pretty much spent my last 3 films. Weeks. I did previously. I watched a lot. I didn't watch anything this week, which was kind of odd. For me, I was just really, really fiending, tried to watch a film, fell asleep halfway through. I'm like, oh, this is brutal. So I got to get back into the mold of things, but I'm just happy to be back doing the show right now. As you can tell, I'm just talking like a madman and really, really hopped up on caffeine right now. I'm usually drinking beer, but I had to sleep in late today because my body's all fucked up. But yeah, episode 49.
Which means next week's episode is episode 50. So I think that's a good time to mention that last week for voicemails, guys, get them in by Wednesday. Wednesday would be the 29th. So make sure you get them in by Wednesday if you want to participate in the 50th show, which we will be counting down our 50 most influential horror films of the last 50 years.
Yeah,
that is right. The big 50. It's really crazy, actually.
It is. It is
approaching 50. I always joke about it. How we're like, remember in episode 33 or 34, we're like, oh, we got lots of time to prepare for it. Now it's like next week. Holy shit! But I like that though. It's gonna be a fun time. Should be an interesting show. So yeah, like JP said, get those calls in, and so you can win some goodness, win some prizes or whatever. I don't even know what everyone's got to give away and stuff, but. It doesn't really matter. Get them in, win some shit. Alrighty, so we might as well get into the news. And I'm probably assuming that we have a shitload since it's been 3 weeks off. And I know there's been lots of announcements and lots of other craziness that's been going on. So, JP?
Well, you would assume correct, my friend. There is a lot of news. And what's funny is I kind of cut the date off like a week and a half ago. So this isn't the entire 3 weeks of news that we've been gone. It's really like only the last week and a half and maybe one thing from the previous week. So just showing by how much news we have in that short period of time versus if we did the whole 3 weeks that we've been gone, it's pretty insane. A lot of things been happening when we went away. So now that we're back, let's talk about some of this stuff. First up, we have a announcement from Warner Brothers who says they are going forward with the Gremlins reboot. Now, this is kind of interesting. What I had read, there was an interview with Christopher Columbus, but the first thing that was announced was Carl Ellsworth, who is the writer behind Suspira, The Last House on the Left remake, Red Dawn, and the upcoming Goosebumps movie is going to write Gremlins. There was an interview with Chris Columbus that said that they are actually trying to find a way not to remake the first movie, but to take those characters and do something interesting with them. He wants to focus on like the nostalgic feel for the people that grew up with Gremlins and stuff like that. Jeremy, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I'm not really a huge follower of the Gremlins movie, so I'm probably not a good person to ask.
Moodz, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Honest. It'll be cool.
Think
I think they're trying to do, like I'm going to say, they're probably trying to do what Vacation's trying to do, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I almost feel like I'm starting to see a shift that before it was just remake, but they would still call it reboot or whatever. Yeah. But now it feels like almost studios are trying to like
Continue.
reboot the series, but have reoccurring cast or characters. We've seen it with Chainsaw. We're starting to see it with, there was another film that was announced that was doing that. Like Jeremy said, Vacation. It seems like the new remake is more of like a sequel again. So
I think Vacation is a sequel.
Yeah, it technically is, right?
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, they're trying to like
Reboot it.
the story. So that seems like where their head's at with the Gremlins film.
Yeah, I like that idea too. I think it really does work, and I think it gets people more, involved in wanting to see something like that too.
Yeah.
Right when I heard that, like Chevy Chase and what's her name?
Beverly D'Angelo.
Yeah, are back doing this, sequel or whatever. That just instantly intrigued me.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, that's the running joke with that series is that the people who play fucking Rusty and
they're always
Audrey,
different.
they're always different. That's like that's the running joke of the series. Like,
but it's almost became a joke in itself that works.
Yeah. That's like the point of the whole thing. Is like
The
they're
only thing
never
with
the
the-
same people.
The only thing with the Gremlins film, like, I think that's really cool. They're going to have some type of relatable, to this film. But the
CGI.
Gremlins themselves. Now that's what worries me, because I think,
CGI.
if they go all out and they fucking see the shit out of the Gremlins and stuff, I think it's just not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make it kind of similar to the original. If you're going to bring back cast members or continuity or whatever they're doing with it, kind of make it relatable to the first one. Obviously not CG'd, make it puppets and, use animatronics and stuff like that. I think that's the only way to go. So now that worries me if they're not going to go that way.
I think there's room
it's
for
really
a
gonna
healthy
hurt it.
mix of both, because they're going to add CGI to it. So I just wish that they hopefully do try to go somewhat practical with it and maybe just use CGI as an enhancement on certain scenes that would be a little harder to pull off. If
there's any type of film where you can totally avoid CGI, it's in like little monster films.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably a little easier it's obviously not easy to do, but I think it's doable to the point where I think it would be amazing to see. It's a lot easier to make like little monsters than it is to do, big monsters. Those type of things you almost have to CG sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But like with little monsters, I think it's a little easier to work with and kind of do properly. But I would love to see that on the big screen.
I don't understand why they can't do it properly.
Yeah, I would love to see this on the big screen with, just how the Gremlins were back in '84.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be so fucking cool to see, and I think it would really, really get people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there'd be a lot of buzz, man. If the
I
movie
say
came
let's
out
set it
looking
on
like that.
Christmas again. Let's do it.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Right?
See Gremlins on Christmas. Well, all the Jews at least.
Yeah. So, I think their head's in the right place. I like that idea. We seen it. The other film I was thinking of was The Town That Jetted Sundown. It seems like the best approach now is, because remake is such a dirty word, is to let's try to make it a sequel, but it's still kind of like a rehash almost, is what we've kind of seen with these type of things. So I don't know. Let's hope that Moodz is correct and they go a little more practical on this one. But after that, we have another remake type announcement. We have the Conjuring team. James Wan is going to be producing. The people who wrote The Conjuring are going to be writing, and it is the remake of the 1983 ghost molestation movie, The Entity. This is going to be remade from who did this? Warner Brothers, or I can't really remember. You guys know?
I actually can't remember.
Fox.
Yeah, I can't
think
remember
it's
either.
Fox, actually. Yeah, so this is going to be remade, guys, and it was announced to be remade, and it was going to be done by the guy who did The Ring and The Ringu back in 2007, but that eventually got canceled, so now it's back on the slate again. Moodz, what do you think about that one?
You know what? I'm not really happy about this at all, to be honest. I know you're not a big fan of the film or the ending of the movie, but to be honest, I think what makes the original Entity film work so well is it's so shocking when you watch it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it such a good film. We've seen this before. So what are they going to do? Are they going to have it the same way? Did they announce anything? Are they going to make this, kind
Less
of
tame.
It needs to be
Yeah,
a
but-
hard R, for sure.
Yeah, it has to
Okay.
be a hard R for sure.
Okay.
But they didn't
because-
say anything about it.
So the thing is, though, if they dumb down the story of the Entity, man, it's just not going to work at all. But I'm not really excited for it, because I think that movie just does not need to be remade at all. I just don't see that type of story just kind of working. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to work today, to be completely honest.
Like I said, it was so shocking to when you watch that, this fucking demon entity raping
the music.
And the music and just how everything kind of develops in that film. But like to see it again in a newer version, I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to have the same effect on people, especially if you're a fan. Who knows? If you haven't seen the original one and you watch this one and it's not dumbed down, they actually go full force with it. It might really work for you. But, for myself, and I'm such a huge fan of the film, I always have been. I'm not excited about it. I'm just not excited. I mean, I can see them changing. And definitely the ending. But
yeah, movies tend to stay away from rape. So don't see too many rapes.
Well, especially in like a mainstream.
Like the last movie that I could think that has a rape in it was fucking The Hills Have Eyes remake.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty brutal rape.
I think that's like the last movie I can remember that had like a mainstream rape sequence.
Yeah, there's definitely not a lot of rape scenes in mainstream.
I'm trying to think
studio films. So that's kind of what that I was getting at. I don't think it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, my opinions are that it doesn't bother me as much because I do think there's actually room for improvement in the film with the entire end, like you said. But that section of horror before it gets to like the lasers and stuff is some of the best horror that there even is. Mm-hmm. Like, it is terrifying. It is so unsettling, and you feel really helpless. Is. And the music added to it and just the brutal sadness of it all is truly effective. So I think if there is anything that they can do, they have to push the boundaries on what they can put in a mainstream film, because it has to be intense. It has to be
See, that's brutal. Why I think it won't work as a mainstream film to have that effect that that had on us watching the other one, because there's scenes in this film that are so brutal, man. Not only just the rape scenes with her and the music being so effective and stuff, but there's that scene the first time the demon rapes her, Barbara Hershey's character, in the film in front of her fucking kids, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, are they going to put those are the type of scenes that I can't see them really putting into like a Hollywood film. Like, that's really, really terrifying and like kind of not what they do in films nowadays. But I mean, if they want to go there, that's cool too. But those are the type of films that I find make that film so damn effective. And like when you watch it, you kind of go, you almost lean back and go, fuck me, man.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I don't see it having the same effect, but that's me. That's my opinion.
The only like great thing that I can say is that it is in somewhat decent hands, right? I mean, the guys who did The Conjuring and probably Blumhouse and stuff like that, it kind of gets me wondering if they're going to make it more of like a very kind of slow, ghostly, like a totally different approach, like a Conjuring type deal, very kind of atmospheric and slow. I don't know. It's interesting because if you take their type of style towards that, like in your fucking face entity style, like that movie is just, it comes full force at you, man. Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that goes. But we actually did cover the entity way back on episode 10. If you want to dig down to those old episodes and check that out. I do remember our review being pretty entertaining. It was the first time I seen it, and I was like, wow, this movie is amazing. So we all kind of loved that one. But moving on, the CW, it was announced a while back that Tales from the Dark Side, which I guess is going to be a anthology, I assume, because that's what the original was. They're going to be redoing it, and according to Joe Hill, which is, I believe, Stephen King's son, correct? He did the film Horns and Lock and Key. He wrote the pilot script, and according to him, it is done, and he just saw the first cut of the pilot, and he was super pumped up about it. So it looks like that it is in full force, and it is coming to the CW pretty soon. That is Tales from the Dark Side. Jeremy?
Cool. What else is there to say about it?
Moodz?
Man, I'm so excited. Like, this is what we've been needing with all these new horror-related TV shows that are based off films, which is fine. I'm fine with it. But we needed that anthology.
And me and you have talked about that many times, like with all of the goddamn horror that's going on in TV right now. I mean, it is so plentiful, but it's missing the anthology format show.
It really was missing that one element to kind of make it a whole, and that was the anthology-based TV series. Man, it's like getting out of control. I kind of joked about it the other day with these adaptations, these TV adaptations of films, it seems like they're announcing one every week now.
Yeah.
Oh,
There
it's
was
out of
another
control.
one
Like that
announced.
Suspira one and all these other ones that are coming out. And I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap. It's almost like it's turning into the new reality show.
Yeah.
You know?
And actually, I do believe it's an anthology because it says that a character by the name of Newman is the only regular character as he goes through and discovers what he comes across as being called the dark side. So it does sound like it's going to be like more of the Friday the 13th style anthology, where there's two or one character that is kind of your main centerpiece, and these stories revolve around that person. But it seems like it's a monster of the week or ghost story of the week or whatever we're dealing with. But I'm pumped. I can't wait. I'm not too crazy about the CW. I don't really know what they've done, but Tales from the Dark Side coming back. That's pretty cool.
They've done Supernatural, and that
That's
new,
right, Supernatural. Yeah.
That new zombie show, Zombie
Didn't
X.
Sci-Fi do Supernatural?
No.
Oh. All right. So yeah, I mean, I guess Supernatural is like 9 seasons deep, so
Yeah.
some people must like that. After that, we have a little bit of an update. I just thought this was some interesting news. The film Unfriended debuted a little while ago, and it ended up making $6,800,000 on its opening night, and went on to gross over $18 million as of yesterday.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It didn't get the biggest release, but it's Universal's Pictures film. It came in at number 3 on the opening weekend. And it only had a $1 million budget, so it's a little bit of a success story. I've heard mostly decent things in terms of it's not great, but it's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid little horror film. So that sounds good to me. It did look interesting, kind of looked like The Den. All three of us have been really high on The Den, so I think we was all kind of a little interested to see what kind of story it was telling.
Yeah, It's already out of theater, so I can't go see it.
Yeah, I know. I was
Last
actually going to go, and I was like, what the hell? It's gone.
Yeah, it never made its way around here. None of them ever do, so I never have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, after that, this was reported by Bloody Disgusting, so I'm not sure how credible this rumblings are, but they reported that they have an in that Lionsgate might have already been going through production on the next Blair Witch Project film. They're basically saying that one of their insiders told them that Lionsgate is working on a film called The Woods, which they are. That's a known thing, but their insider is telling them that The Woods is actually a remake, sequel, or spin-off of the Blair Witch Project. Of course, The Woods
working title.
Directed by Adam Wingard and written by Simon Barrett, who we all know. Adam Wingard has done a bunch of films.
Yep.
You know what's funny is back in January, co-director of the original Blair Witch Project, Eduardo Sanchez, came out and said that the sequel was inevitable, which we thought was a little weird. You know, he has been saying that for years, but it makes this story a little bit more interesting that he had just recently said that. The Woods is involving a group of college students on a camping trip who discover they are not alone. Maybe,
Sounds
right?
like Blair
It
Witch.
could be Blair Witch trying to keep it under wraps and stuff. And if you was going to make a Blair Witch film, but you didn't want everybody to know it was the Blair Witch, maybe you would probably call it something along the lines of The Woods.
Yeah. Movies do that all the time when they don't want people to know.
Yeah.
Like all the superhero movies did that when they were in Chicago. They just called them some other name so nobody would know.
So what do you guys think about another Blair Witch?
What, like,
Cool.
I don't know. Like, what are they doing with this?
That's
man? 'Cause,
that's
like,
the question, right? Like
because
what?
like like the first Blair Witch is what it is, found footage. Second one completely, well, it's not unrelated to the first one, but it's a completely different type of film. So what are they doing with this? I don't know. Is it like a origin story?
I mean,
Something cliched like that? Oh, let's make an origin story of.
I think the first one was an origin story.
Yeah, I guess totally. But like, I don't know. What do you do with it? Where do
Well,
you take it?
I gave
I
you
actually
guys
don't even know.
my idea a couple shows back. probably like 10 shows back now. I don't really want to rehash that, but I mean, I have some ideas. Of course, they'll probably do something completely different and better, but I mean, I'm kind of, this is the thing. I would love to see another Blair Witch Project if they could do something that I hadn't thought of that actually works. Like, cause that's the problem, right? It's like, what the hell do you do? If they could have figured what that is, then I'm all for it.
Have you been thinking about this, JP?
Thinking about a Blair Witch Project sequel?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've thought about it, what you would do and stuff like that, but.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you have, Vince.
I love the Blair Witch Project. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how that goes. I'd be really surprised, if that is what it is. If the Woods is also, or is, a, secret title for the Blair Witch Project. If it is, props to Bloody Disgusting for finding that out. After that, we have a bit of a weird news, and that is that Dario Argento wants to oversee a television adaptation of 1977's Suspiria. It says it's being developed, but that's, being developed is not even greenlit, right? That's like when you're first thinking.
That's the first thing.
Yeah. And after that came out, the showrunner for Hannibal, which has done really well, came out on Twitter and said that he would love to do the US version of Suspiria TV series. So what the hell would you I did hear somebody
how the fuck would you make this into a TV show?
I heard somebody have an interesting take on Suspiria as a TV series where like you're kind of following three characters, one in New York, which was I believe the second film took place, and the three locations or whatever, following like three different girls. It sounded kind of interesting. I've only seen the first film in the Mother's series, but what do you think, Moodz? This seems like this one's up your alley.
No,
thanks. At first I was like completely not sure about this being adapted into a TV series, but then upon kind of pondering it a little more, I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, there's so much to explore with the story of the three mothers. I think if you take it and you explore the actual kind of origins of it and kind of explain it more, because a lot of people, I think that's one of the biggest problems that people have with the Three Mothers trilogy is that there's a basic kind of concept and idea of what the Three Mothers is, right, in Suspiria and Inferno, and then of course but I think it's kind of wrapped up a little bit, but I think in the TV series, I think you can just totally take that idea and tell people exactly what it is and just explore the actual Three Mothers.
That makes sense.
And that's the thing, and just kind of tell the whole thing, tell the whole story of what the Three Mothers is. Because I think in the films it's there, but I think there's a lot more to explore in the movies, story-wise and stuff. So I don't know. I think it really can work. I think you can really stretch it out and totally explore where do the Three Mothers come from, and then just go from there. And I think there really is a lot. And it was actually a comment that I read. I think it was by Aaron Pinn or something like that. He kind of put it into my mind, and I started thinking about it. And I was like, you know what? There really is a lot of damn story, because when you watch these films, it's always the main complaint that they're really good visually, blah blah blah, but the story's lacking. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, the Three Mothers can be a really, really interesting concept if you explore that, because there's really endless possibilities what you can do with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think right there, it actually has the means for a lot of episodes, like a big series.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wasn't really expecting that take from you, but it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I think that one of the positives of that happening is that story, the Three Mothers, obviously in three different parts of the world, would work well for a TV series. One, because typically you have a higher budget and you're able to do much more grand things in terms of locations, and I feel like there could be some like beautiful locations for that. So I mean, sounds like it could work, but I mean, it's very early in its embryonic stage, so we'll see what happens with that. After that, we have our homie, the big homie Wesley Craven, is coming back into the spotlight once again, because Deadline reported that Wes Craven has went to make a deal with Universal Cable bringing 2 new TV series to cable. He's going to produce. Both of the shows will be projects for the Sci-Fi Channel. The first one is based on a book, We Are All Completely Fine. But the second one is very interesting. Craven will write the pilot episode, I believe, of both, but I'm not sure. The second one is Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs for TV.
What's up with all these fucking TV shows, man?
I told you literally a year
Jesus
and a half ago
Christ.
it was the new remake.
You know, I have no problem with these films being, you know, turned into TV series
I
at all.
don't either.
Pick good ones, though.
What?
But
I can't see that being a TV show.
I kind of could see this one being a TV show.
How?
It's this crazy... How does Bates Motel make it as a TV series? It's about a crazy family who is living in this area, and they're kind of controlling all the people that are living there because they're slumlords, right? There's this room for all these characters who these people are affecting. We follow all those characters, and we learn a little bit more about the main family as it keeps going along. And we'll probably have Full as our main lead character who's like kind of investigating all this shit.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue I have with all these shows is the simple fact that it's impossible to keep up. I mean, if you were
Right?
really trying to watch all these TV series, it would consume your entire life. It's like it's so much to intake. Like, I'm just like, holy crap, man! Like, I haven't even got to, you know, certain shows that I have, and I'm like, and they just keep announcing more, and I'm going, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'll ever get to that.
I know. But you know the reason that I really love it is because something like The People Under the Stairs, where I'd really never want to see it remade, there's no room for a sequel. It lets this live on in a different way that you would have never had the opportunity to do, 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's a new form of sequel in a way. It's kind of interesting, and I'm kind of digging that, because it's like something like People Under the Stairs. Like, I love that film, but I would never dream of seeing some weird sequel to it that wouldn't work, or I would never want to see it remade because it's of its time. But the core concept put into a TV series, I'm okay with that. That sounds pretty interesting. So that's kind of why I like these TV series adaptation things.
Yeah.
Don't have time.
I know, it's funny because I talk about how I like these, yet I've only watched like 2, and I've not even watched the whole season of any besides the first Bates Motel season.
I don't have the time nor the
It's so
intention
hard,
span.
but I feel like I will eventually have the time. Plus, I like letting a TV series run its course. So then I could just watch them all and not have to wait a year to check out the next one. Like, for example, when Bates Motel is eventually done, I'll pick up all the seasons and I'll go through the series because it's gonna be a fun ride probably. But if I invest in a show for one season and it gets canceled, I'm gonna be pissed off.
I'm precisely the exact same way, for the exact same reason. I like to go through and watch the whole thing, like just kind of marathon it. And there's nothing worse than getting into a TV series and have it canceled on you, and you're like, "What the fuck, man?"
Especially,
So
like,
if you know that going into it, you're just like, whatever, I'll just skip that one.
But if you
don't waste your time.
5 years from now, and you know that People Under the Stairs has lasted 5 seasons and it ended in its 5th season, you go pick all those up on DVD, and you're cool with that. You're not worried about it being canceled because it's already done. Now you have the full run to go through.
Yeah, man, you're just saving yourself, from disappointment.
Sorry, I don't think that's going to make 5 seasons.
Probably not.
I'm just telling you right
it's
now.
a Sci-Fi Channel, right?
I would be surprised if it made it past 2.
Yeah. So yeah. After that, we have a announcement of a documentary. I thought this one is something Moodz would enjoy. So the team who did the Hellraiser documentary that just came out, I believe.
Well, thanks, because I don't watch documentaries either.
Well, let me finish and you'll see why. Leviathan, the story of Hellraiser 1 and the story of Hellraiser Hellbound Part 2. That documentary came out. It got some buzz. It's a UK thing, though, so that was a little disappointing. Me and Moodz was looking at the price of that damn thing. But it's called, this new one is called You're So Cool, Brewster, The Story of Fright Night. So it's going to be a documentary fully supported by the original writer and director Tom Holland. This documentary will be the ultimate insight into the making of the cult classic movie, as well as the tribute to the late, great Roddy McDowall. The story of Fright Night will feature detailed interviews with those who helped shape and create this much-loved movie. Guided by Tom Holland, the makers of the new documentary will raise the stakes and unearth behind-the-scenes stories, including footage and images from Tom Holland's personal archive.
Nice. And this isn't a UK thing only?
I would hope not, right? Because that, like, Hellraiser makes sense, you know, because that was kind of a UK production a little bit with.
Yeah, like the Hellraiser, the Hellraiser documentary just it came at a bad time too. Just, you know, with the dollar being so shitty, and I'm like, fuck, man, that thing's like £20. I'm like, I gotta pay $4,000 for this thing to get it over here. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. So me and JP were like, you know, we're a little saddened by this, and I was like, come on. But no, this is good though. This is good. This is really fascinating. And having a full documentary about Fright Night. Are you serious? This is amazing to me because it's like the film that, made me a horror fan, really. Like, I watched this film pretty much when it came out. I think when it got released on VHS, and here was maybe early 1986. I don't know. But
it only cost you $3,000 to get it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, like $89 for the big box or something. But no. Yeah, this is fantastic. I would like to know more. You know,
yeah,
why wouldn't I? You know, it's one of my favorite films of all time, and I think this is.
And that's why I said that you would probably be really interested in this news. I wonder if they're going to talk about the remake. That would be cool, huh?
No, it wouldn't be cool at all.
What about the sequel to the remake?
No, I would love to hear Stephen Jeffries talking about the remake and going, like, all they have to do in the documentary is just have Stephen Jeffries going, really, McLovin? It would make my whole fucking day, man.
Yeah.
I would piss myself, man. 'Cause, I mean, that's one complaint I've heard from so many people about that film, is that, you know, the guy who plays Evil Ed is McLovin. It was like terrible casting, right? And everyone's like, why the fuck would they cast him? He's goofy. He's fucking, I understand why, you know, for the goofy element, but he's just fucking terrible in the film. But, you know, I would just love that. Stephen Jeffries just like, really, McLovin? But I think this has potential to be awesome. I hope they actually make it like a really long documentary, you know, like a 2.5 hour type,
length, maybe more type of shit.
Yeah, just with like, and they did say they're going to have everybody with, you know, like brand new interviews and stuff, like the whole cast.
It says that it's going to be full featured, you know, detailed interviews with all the people involved who helped shape and make the movie. So
that's fucking awesome, man. It's really good. I'm excited for this. Is there like a release date or
no, it's actually just been announced. There's really nothing else besides what I just read.
Okay.
So yeah, but hopefully that means that Fright Night will get a Blu-ray soon. After that, we have Rob Zombie's The Hills Have Eyes, The Beginning. What? So this came out a little while ago, a couple weeks ago. I guess somebody came out and said that Rob Zombie is writing the fucking prequel to The Hills Have Eyes, but it's going to be animated, and it's based off of the graphic novel. When the original remake Hills Have Eyes came out, they did a like tie-in graphic novel prequel thing. So I guess that's what they're talking about making into a animated film now. I have heard other sources say that this is BS, so who knows? I figured I would just mention it.
You know, it fascinates me because I heard that Rob Zombie's, you know, going to be writing like the Three Mothers TV show, and in season 7 of From Dusk Till Dawn, and Bates Motel season 4, and he's also working on some episodes of People Under the Stairs also. I heard that he's going to be doing something with the Fright Night documentary also. No, I'm just joking. It just seems like his name gets attached to fucking everything.
It does.
It's so strange how, like, you know, all these type rumored things, it's always Rob Zombie. Like, he is always the main focus of just bullshit. You know, it's funny, man. But then we get intrigued by it. So, I mean, if this is true, it'd be cool.
Yeah, Rob Zombie has probably been attached to more projects of popular horror films than ever since that Halloween remake. He's been attached to so many, you know, already established horror franchises. It's kind of annoying because most of the time it's not true, but it got me thinking, and I do think that Rob Zombie would kill a Hills Have Eyes movie, not an animated film, but an actual movie. I really think that he could do that.
I don't get the animated film. Like, you know, like, let's touch on this a little bit. Why animated? I understand that, you know, he's done the El Super Beast.
I guess.
I understand the whole like where that's coming from and stuff, but like why would they even consider this though? Like I think Rob Zombie would be so much better doing another Hills Have Eyes film or whatever if they wanted to do. How do you even
like? I've always kind of like, what does a director of an animated movie do? I've always kind of wondered. I'm sure there's like things to do, but I've always just wondered like how it's like written and directed and stuff. You know,
I actually don't really know the process of that, to be honest. I mean, that's an interesting question. I'm sure there's listeners going screaming at their
like you fucking idiots. You
don't know what they fucking do when they're directing an animated film. You fucking idiots, turn it off right now. But it makes sense. But no, it's kind of a good question. I'm not gonna lie. But no, Rob Zombie, man, it just cracks me up. Like, I don't know how many things I've read that are totally false about Rob Zombie in the past. And
remember that everybody thought that he was Paul from Wonder Years? Like, that was a rumor for years, like, before the internet.
But then also it was Marilyn Manson was Paul from the Wonder Years too. And,
well, yeah.
There's like so many fucking, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I just don't, I'm not excited for an animated
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Or that would not be fun either.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I'm just not a fan of animation unless it's like South Park or King of the Hill.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. I just don't want to see a Hills Have Eyes animated movie. Like, I just really don't have a lot of interest in that.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for me.
If it was something fully original, like something I'd never heard of, or just something brand new to the table, if the Hills Have Eyes, it just throws me off. And then again, sitting here judging before, maybe it's going to be good. I don't know, but
yeah.
Right now, as I stand, I'm not overly. I don't have a boner. Just put it that way.
Well, my vote is for BS anyway, since some sites have came out and said that they had sources that dug into the situation and said that there's no truth to it. Who knows? Who knows?
It's probably not true.
Yeah. So after that, I just thought I would toss this out there. The trailer came out for MTV's series called Scream. This is supposed to be based on the classic Wesley Craven franchise called Scream, Scream 2, Scream 3, and Scream 4. This is going to be a TV series. It's going to premiere June 30th, and the trailer came out, and I gotta say, I did watch it just to see what they was doing. And it doesn't look very good, guys. It does not look very good. There is actually no Ghostface. It's actually a different mask. There's only a quick glimpse of it, but I've seen stills that people screen capped. Maybe they don't want to, show their hand right away, but I'm not really sure. It looks like this weird remake thing, very meta and stuff, but I don't know. I do not know how this thing is going to play out. But I actually probably will watch the pilot just out of fucking curiosity's sake.
What is the story? Like, I can't remember. I know we've covered this a lot.
I remember the mask was copyrighted, right?
Yeah.
No, well, see, but then they came out and said that it wasn't. So.
But it was, though.
Well, it is, but you got to figure. Well, yeah, it's copyrighted, but the people came out and said there was nothing that says that we have not had disputes to where we couldn't use the mask or something.
No, it's just their excuse for not using it. But
we don't know if they're not using it because they said that they have never said that they wasn't using it.
Okay, regardless of the mask or Ghostface or whatever, what is the actual tentative storyline in this? Like, what are they doing with this?
What starts as a YouTube video going viral soon leads to problems for teenagers of Lakewood and serves as the catalyst for a murder that opens up the window to the town's troubled past. Lakewood? It's Woodsboro, right?
Yeah, Lakewood. They even changed. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so maybe this is like the next town over.
There's a school. There's a fucking school in my city called Lakewood. That's lame.
Yeah, there's a street on my town that's called Elm Street.
Well, let's just put it this way. We don't really know a lot about, the Suspira TV show or whatever they're calling it, the Three Mothers, but that sounds a lot more intriguing than the Scream one. I honestly think the Scream series, I don't know, I think we touched on it before, but I just said that I think it's just not good. I think it's going to fail.
Oh, yeah.
There was one I just figured that wasn't really going to work full.
Fail, because I said that I feel like it's going to succeed in terms of numbers.
No way.
I feel like it's going to fail critically a lot, but
me too.
I know that there's fucking lots of teenagers who watch MTV, and even watching the trailer, I was like, this is just feed for them. This is the shit that they love. So I don't know, like, maybe like 12, 13, 14-year-old girls and shit. I could totally see this being.
But in my eyes, that's
TV
just
show
a
for
total
them.
fail.
Well, I mean, but there's two kinds of fails, right? That's a fail to us, but numbers
that's what I was
wise,
joking about.
that's a success.
Well, totally it is, because there's more, 13, 14-year-old people that it works for that crowd, and
All about money, man.
there's more people that are going to accept, and then,
Yeah, but
all about
I'm
money.
going to completely reserve my final thoughts because, I said, I will watch the pilot and I'll let you guys know what's going on with it in June.
And this is actually, it's an MTV thing?
Yeah, it's going to premiere on MTV.
That's right.
So that's pretty shitty, all
I
right.
really just don't have any hopes for this at all.
Yeah, me
neither, but I am a Scream fan and I do love the series, so I do have to see what's going on with it. After that, we have the Weinstein Company coming out and saying that they want to do a It Follows sequel. I guess it's been pretty successful. Jeremy had some numbers a while back, said that it was doing pretty good theatrically for the amount.
It did really, really good.
The amount of theaters that it was in, it did pretty well, I guess.
Yeah, it did really good.
So basically they said that already the success of It Follows has exceeded our goals. The ultimate goal for us is we want to see a sequel. That was the president or co-president of the Weinstein Company who said that. So it looks like they're looking
Great, so
for
they're
a
going to ruin this like they fucking ruin everything else.
Yeah, I love sequels, so I haven't seen the film yet, but
I just really want to see the film. I keep hearing
It's good. I saw
good
it.
things, and that's really cool that it's like a fucking theatrical film that's being highly regarded. So that gets me excited. So it's just not very often I get excited. Oh, that was in the theaters. It was good. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Right on.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be. That's what even makes it more surprising to me. It was an indie.
Well, I know
thing, and it did so
the fact
well.
That it is.
Yeah, it did so well that it made it to the theaters, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's great news!" But for me, I'm almost at the point where I want to wait now because I feel like there's too much hype right now for me. That if I just wait another maybe towards the end of the year show and then watch it at that time, won't worry about overhypeness and stuff like that. So I'm gonna chill on it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we have a bit of interesting news. I thought this one is something that Moodz would really like. Last year, we saw High 8, a homage to shot-on-video films. Now there is a sequel called High Death, which is currently in production. 4 of the directors of High 8 are going to be returning, including Brad Skies, Tim Ritter, Marcus Koch, and Todd Sheets.
The four headliners.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
New to the mix are, drumroll please, Ryan Nicholson.
Fuck yeah.
Who did the Puppet Monster?
Who
did fucking Live Feed, Gutterballs, Collar.
You didn't hear about this?
Hanger.
No, I didn't hear about the sequel.
Oh, you're gonna get a boner.
Oh wow. Okay, so this is definitely some good news. So Ryan Nicholson is the first one that is also going to be included, and the second one is Dustin Wade Mills.
Wow.
Who did, of course, Bath Salt Zombies, Puppet Monster Massacre, Skinless. Her Name Was Torment. List goes on and on.
Kill that bitch.
So those two are now involved, which I believe is something that Moodz might have even mentioned a while back, that if he would love to see an anthology with some of those guys. So this time they'll be utilizing high definition equipment and given longer running times between 10 and 15 minutes to work with. The mission statement is the same: shooting on locations with practical effects, bare bones equipment packages, and minimal crews. In addition, High 8 had sort of a lighter tone, but their goal this time around is to make a much more darker, more challenging, more scary film, because the anthology market is so glutted nowadays. They knew they had to stand out from the pack. Sounds great to me. That's right up my alley. Dark, scary, challenging.
Yeah, this is going to be fantastic.
Oh, this is amazing, man. Like, I loved
High 8.
High 8 was so good, man. It was really, really a big surprise. Well, not really a big surprise to me. I saw it, in the new year. I wish I had seen it actually in 2014 because it would have made my top favorite films of the year. So much fun is going on in there. But this is, the addition of, Ryan Nicholson and Dustin Mills. This is just exactly what I wanted. I talked about this, and you're right, I did talk about this before. I mean, Ryan Nicholson's been involved in anthology films before. It's where Torch came from. That's about a 45-minute short in this anthology film that came out a few years back. I think it was like one of his first films, actually. But this is cool. And I know Dustin Mills has been involved in a couple before, too, which I have not seen his segments in the anthology films that he did before.
What has he done?
I can't even remember what they are. Like, I don't even know if they've even been released. They're on his IMDb page, though. But, yeah, that is quite the lineup right there. And it's called High Def, right?
Yeah, High Def.
Going to be focusing on High Def and focusing on High Def. Okay. Man, this is awesome.
Yeah, I thought this
is precisely why I stay away from the news and don't pay attention to anything, because then you get reactions out of me like this. So
yeah, sometimes I'll be on the Facebook page and I will literally just get news, and then like 2 hours later I'll see somebody share it and I'll be like, well, this is going to be a little less exciting when I talk about it now.
Yeah, I'm surprised. If someone did share,
somebody did share it on the page. I think it was Derek, actually.
Okay, so I totally missed it then.
Yeah,
I did not even notice.
To be honest, that's actually where I seen it, because I didn't see this one. This was actually reported by Fangoria, which is a site that I do go to, but not as often because they don't do as much news stuff. Normally when they do, it is exclusive news stuff that is not anywhere else at the time. But yeah, Derek actually, I believe it was Derek, reported onto the Facebook page about this. But I thought it was great news. I even thought that the write-up that Fangoria did explaining what was going on with it was great as well. That's a great, Fangoria's classic and knows how to do that shit better than anybody. So
yeah,
this is just going to be so amazing too, because these guys have been working together. Like Marcus Koch was doing effects on Her Name is Torment 2 for Dustin Mills just recently, and of course, this is just amazing. Like, the effects in this film are going to be amazing.
Oh yeah,
Ryan Nicholson, Dustin Wade, Marcus Koch. Like Marcus Koch is probably one of the best guys in the indie scene for effects and stuff. Like, the guy's really, really amazing. So I have nothing but high hopes for this. Like, Todd Sheets and Brad Skies. Like, this is amazing, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool.
I literally dented the bottom of my poker table. I think it's ruined, actually. So
yeah. So one more thing before we get to DVD announcements. I was poking around and I found the trailer for Lake Placid versus Anaconda, which premieres tomorrow on the Sci-Fi Channel, okay? So I watched it, and my God, I'm definitely tuning in to Lake Placid versus Anaconda tomorrow night. This show won't be out in time to tell you guys about it, but I will post it on the Facebook. Everybody got to check this out. It's going to be ridiculous. The anaconda looks like a skinny snake. It's weird. Like how the anaconda in like the anaconda films were like real thick. This is like a little like garden snake, but it's obviously giant. But its width is just very skinny. And I shit you not, the snake and the crocodile have babies, so we're getting like a mixed match anaconda thing when the babies hatch. It was only like a 30-second promo, and it just came out like yesterday, and it premieres tomorrow. So I have a feeling they rushed the hell out of this because they ran out of time. So
oh my God, this is so awesome.
Sci-Fi Channel tomorrow. We have Lake Placid versus Anaconda. Who will be the better of the CGI?
Neither.
Lake Placid versus Anaconda.
It's ridiculous, right?
I just can't believe it's like, it just sounds like it's a lake versus a snake.
Right?
Yep.
Right?
It's just like the title is so misleading.
That should be
like,
that should be the
we have a killer lake
logline.
versus a giant mutated, well, not even mutated, just huge snake.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good, man. It's so good.
Yeah,
That should
the
be the
Anaconda
subtitle.
looks like shit, dude. I'm telling you right now. It looks like worst snake CGI I've seen, probably.
But you can't even fuck up a CGI'd lake either. It's just like flat blue. Like, you can't fuck that up.
Yeah. So on to the DVD announcements. First up, we have They Will Outlive Us All. This is going to be hitting DVD May 9th. It takes place in New York as a bunch of quote-unquote Frankenstorms is rolling through. The food source is low. The bridges and tunnels are closed. It's a post-apocalyptic city where roommates are battling against, I think, cockroaches, actually. I think it's cockroaches. Yeah,
Nice.
so that's going to be about killer cockroaches in New York City, and that's why it's called They Will Outlive Us All, because, of course, cockroaches are very, very...
And they haven't made a cockroach
insects.
movie since Joe's Apartment.
I doubt that's very true, but I do love
Fuck you.
some cockroach horror. There's a good one called Bug from '75, and of course, The Nest. So after that, we have Fangoria reporting on, this is one of those exclusives that I was talking about, but Cult Epics has picked up, shit.
Here we go.
It's like Totus King.
George, the guy who did the necromantic films. It's called Der Todsking, which translates to the Death King. This is going to be hitting Blu-ray and DVD for the first time later this year. It will be limited to 3,000 copies, but it's one of those things where it says the first 3,000 copies of the Blu-ray will include collectible artwork. So I guess the next 3,000 will not. So it's not really like limited, but it is fucking corpse fucking art. An hour-long shockumentary on the film will be included in the Blu-ray. It's literally called Corpse Fucking Art. And then
That's awesome.
you have an introduction from the director of the film, a couple other special features, but suggested retail price for the Blu-ray is $34.95. The DVD is $29.95. Cult Epics putting out this film on June 9th, actually. So yeah, I think it's like an anthology or something, actually. It follows, 7 stories of death and suicide, each taking place on a different day of the week. Sounds interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. And then let's just hope that Cult Epics announces Shram.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking amazing.
Was that
too.
his fourth film?
Yeah, but it's like out of print and hard to find.
Yeah, it's like super fucking
So
hard
is
to
like
find, man.
everything else dude's done. So that would be
I
cool.
know.
Called Epics. I mean, I think Moodz actually called Der Toad's King. So
I did.
Yeah. After that, we have a announcement for Wolfen. This is going to be coming out through Warner Archive. This is a Blu-ray. It does not have a release date yet. It is to be determined, but 1981's Wolfen will be hitting Blu-ray under Warner Archive.
I actually found someone asked if the Warner Archive Blu-rays were burn on demands.
I was wondering that as well.
They are, but they're actually pressed discs though. Which is interesting. I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah. So that'll probably
I think
be
somebody
more
posted
expensive.
somebody posted a video on the Facebook page to show that they're pressed.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. So why don't they do that for their DVDs then? It's the same company
It's fucking
that
stupid.
do these burn on demands. Yeah, the burn on demands are just, honestly, they do a really good job with them. They put really nice artwork on the discs and stuff. They're just burnt discs. But I mean, if you didn't flip it over, you'd never know the difference.
Yeah, it's annoying though.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no problem. Like Killer Party, like, fuck, dude. The transfer on that is like beyond amazing. It's crazy. So
after that, Kino announced that they will be doing MGM's Burnt Offerings, the 1976 film that should be coming out on Blu-ray around Halloween time. So probably around October.
nice.
It's not really that far away. It's only 6 months, October.
Yeah. Then after
5
that,
months, actually.
we have Scream Factory announcing a couple titles. We have The Legacy, which will be coming to Blu-ray for the first time. That is a Universal film, and it's one of the 2 films that made me and Moodz realize that Scream Factory's deal with Universal is back in effect. Of course,
It's
you
definitely
remember,
back in effect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
you remember.
I always get that fucking movie mixed up. The Legacy mixed up with The Uncanny. I had to look it up. I was like, is this The Uncanny? I was like, no, that's the anthology film with Peter Cushing from a year before. And then The Legacy is like a totally different film. I was fucked up, dude.
So does this mean Candyman?
No,
Question
because
mark?
actually, who owns Candyman?
Universal.
TriStar owns Candyman.
I think
Universal.
Yeah.
Does Universal own TriStar? because TriStar is the one that put out Candyman, but TriStar is defunct. Who owns TriStar is the
I'm
question.
pretty sure Universal.
It's probably Universal.
Well, that would be pretty amazing, but the Candyman rights, from what I hear, are all effed up. Of course, MGM owns Part 2, and Part 3 is actually owned by Lionsgate, which is Artisan. Yeah, Artisan.
Yeah.
So yeah, but as me and Moodz were talking, when Scream Factory first came out, they had a lot of Universal titles like The Funhouse and Terror Train, They Live, and then even later with, I believe Body Bags was Universal as well, and Cat People. And then their deal kind of died again, so now we're seeing a resurrection of that deal.
That's interesting, because Body Bags is Artisan, so maybe it is Universal.
Huh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
Rumpelstiltskin is fucking Artisan too.
Yeah.
So
honestly, it's so confusing sometimes, man. Who
oh
knows?
my god, yeah.
I'm so confused by this. Who owns what? Because there's only so many major studios, and they seem to own all these other sub companies. And
well,
I don't fucking know.
Even me and Moodz was going through Universal's library, and we came across Tales from the Hood, which, according to all signs, seems that Universal owns the rights. But I had heard before that Spike Lee actually owns the rights. So who the fuck knows? It's so hard to find out. Unless you're getting paid to do it, I doubt you have the resources that, average Joe has.
It's confusing. It's confusing when it comes to HBO, because HBO, I always thought, owned their own things, and that's why they weren't getting released, because HBO is notorious for not putting their shit out again or re-releasing it and stuff. So I don't know what the fuck. If Spike Lee owns it, why doesn't it have a Blu-ray release?
I know, right? I really would like to know. If anybody could find out there, let us know, man. Let us know.
Yeah, that's really trippy, because it's not like his films are like hard to find.
He's actually filming a movie in Chicago. I should totally go onto the set and be like, "Where the fuck's Tales in the Hood, you bitch?"
Yeah, totally.
Punch him in the face.
Yeah.
Well, HBO is owned by Time Warner, I believe, right? Which is
yeah.
Also, who's Time Warner owned by, though?
Comcast.
Man, it's racking my brain. Like, honestly, I'd have to like go and.
It's owned by Warner Brothers, right?
I thought it's owned by Comcast.
That would actually make sense.
What, Warner Brothers?
Yeah, because don't Warner Brothers own like most shit?
But it's not like Warner Brothers is copyrighted.
I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, The Legacy, that's the 1978 supernatural film. After that, they announced The Sentinel, which was actually the film that they announced first. That kind of shocked us, because that was the first of the new Universal films that they're announcing. And they've actually announced two other films since then. One was The Legacy, which is also a Universal film. So it seems like they're going full force Universal right now. So The Sentinel is the 1977 film. I'm actually completely unfamiliar with it. It has a planned release of August, as well as The Legacy has a planned release of August.
It's a really, really awesome ghost film.
Cool.
It's good shit. Yeah. You know when they made good ones back in the day?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good stuff, though.
After that, we have The Human Centipede Part 3 was announced for limited theatrical release, VOD platforms, May 22nd, 2015, from... I don't know who's
the fucking stills for this look so funny, dude. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, I was laughing pretty hard, too.
In the fucking jail yard, and this,
the one
huge
outside.
train of ass to mouth. I was just like, oh, God.
It had me laughing pretty hard, too.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Is that IFC? Is IFC still involved with the Human Centipedes?
I think so, yeah.
I had no idea.
I'll watch it, even though I hate them.
That's coming out in May. After that, we have a IFC Midnight film that was picked up at the Tribeca Film Festival, I believe, and that is a film called Stung, which is kind of a killer wasp mutated movie type thing. So that's IFC Midnight. Not sure if that'll eventually get released by Scream Factory or not.
I'd assume so.
Yeah.
Killer wasp, man. You know, they make a little bit of those films, but some of them are
bad.
There's a lot of bad ones,
bad.
but I just love the good ones so much that I always just hope for more killer insect movies.
I'm actually quite interested to see what films Scream Factory, releases in the future of these IFCs.
Yeah, because there's a lot, and I don't know if they're doing
That's
them
the thing.
all or just select ones. But as of right now, it seems like they're doing them all because none have been released under the pure IFC banner since Scream Factory and IFC made that deal.
Well, there's only been two.
Two what?
Two IFC Scream Factories that have been released.
Yeah, but how many have been announced? Like
Two?
5 or something.
Really?
Yeah, Extraterrestrial. Then they just announced 2 more. Yeah, there's like 5 or 6 that have been announced, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah. So after that, we have Artsploitation finally coming back. They were on hiatus for 16 months, actually.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going on with those guys.
So they're coming back with a slew of titles. We have 10 titles. First of all, we have Cub, which is hitting August 18th. That's a Belgium film. That's probably the most notable one that I know out of the list because I've been hearing rumblings about Cub for a long time now. Then they have Der Samurai from Germany. That's coming out June 9th on Blu-ray and DVD. Then we have House with a Thousand Eyes. That's from the USA. That one's hitting June 16th, 2015. Then we have Horsehead from France, which will be hitting June 23rd, 2015.
Which I actually grabbed from Black Fawn.
Oh, really?
Distribution in Canada. So yeah, they got. I know that was a weird one because people that were collecting those were like, "Oh, that's being released by Artsploitation." It's like, nah. But I'm sticking with Black Fawn. Canada.
You and nobody else. So after that, we have Reckless that is coming out
man.
from
Have you seen how many people have been picking up all the titles?
Yeah,
I mean, even
you.
Black Fawn, even fucking, they saw my video and posted it on their wall.
Yeah, because they noticed they had a spike by like 15 sales, and it was like, this is the most we sold all year.
Fuck off, man.
I kid.
They're doing good shit.
I kid.
It's just nice to have a company in Canada that's actually releasing, good indie films and,
Well, shit, it's
decent
nice
stuff.
to just have a company in Canada, probably.
It is true. It is true. All the other ones melted.
Yeah.
All the buildings melted. So
After that, Reckless from the Netherlands. That comes out July 14th. And finally, Dealer from France. That comes out September 29th. And those are our Artsploitation films that are coming out from them. And finally, the last announcement was the People Under the Stairs from Scream Factory. Of course, the one, the only Wesley Craven's 1991, the year I was born classic, one of my favorites. The People Under the Stairs getting a collector's edition coming out in August. No announcement on special features yet, but it does have one sexy ass cover art.
Oh yeah, it's fucking awesome.
I just love the blend of purple. It just truly looks great. Jeremy, what do you think of that cover art and the announcement?
I love the cover. I even said that on the page, like, only one thing needs to be said, that cover art, because it's fucking amazing. It's so fucking well done. It's not like the fucking sleepaway camps where the freaking heads look stupid.
Yeah, I was slightly disappointed in those sleepaway camps, but I just love the look of the purple, right? Like the purple.
It's nice.
Just
how many artists
well.
does Scream Factory have doing?
I think they have 2 or 3. I know for a fact they have 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jason Milliner, and he's a guy I know. Do you know who did the cover arts for the sleepaway camps?
What's funny is the same guy did.
Yeah, I would think so.
All 3 of them actually.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I thought so. You could tell.
Yeah,
you could tell they're similar.
That People Under the Stairs one, man, the colors on that, holy shit. I know you just touched on that, but that's fucking...
It's nice.
Looks really, really good. Like, it really pops. It's good.
Yeah, I was actually... I was as satisfied as I could get with that cover art announcement. I was actually a little more... Because we had all thought that People Under the Stairs would eventually get a Scream Factory release if they restruck their deal with Universal. Of course, when the Bare Bones edition came out last year, we was a little less sure that it was going to be happening, but we still kind of had, thoughts and hopes that it might. And I always thought, like, what would the cover art look like? And I was not even expecting anything that good, so I was extremely satisfied with how that turned out. That one was actually done by D. Sporn or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so, this is one of many Universal Wes Craven films that are out there. Universal also owns the rights to The Serpent and the Rainbow and Shocker. They also own the rights to John Carpenter's The Thing. and a couple other films. So what do you guys think? You think we'll see Shocker and Serpent in the Rainbow next?
Definitely not The Thing.
Probably
no.
not.
We'll definitely
Definitely
see.
not.
We'll definitely see Serpent in the Rainbow and Shocker for sure.
Oh, can you imagine the Shocker cover art? Oh, I could see it now.
Yeah, with Shocker,
Orange.
like the actual poster art for is kick ass anyway.
So
I
many
can see what they could do with
oranges.
it.
Be fucking amazing.
Even Serpent in the Rainbow, I think could be a really fucking cool one too, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Serpent and Rainbow would be dope. I'm personally.
That's only if they decide to do, collector's editions with, new artwork and stuff too. So
Yeah,
who knows?
so hopefully they do. If they do those two films, they are collector's editions. I think they deserve to be. I understand why they didn't make Swamp Thing a collector's edition, but pretty much all of the other Wes Craven films are a little more popular.
It's probably because that movie's not very good.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'm not a big fan of it at all.
I'm kind of liking, some of the main American directors like Carpenter and Wes Craven and Stuart Gordon, stuff like that. It seems like they're really focusing on trying to like get as much of these guys' libraries as possible. We've seen so many Carpenter films released through Scream Factory. There's really only one or two left, and they're more of the lesser popular films. Now, hopefully, we can see the rest of Craven's library getting announced and getting the collector's edition treatment. I would love to see The Serpent and the Rainbow because I've really never heard Craven talk about that film. And it may not be the best film in the world, but it's definitely a weird out there voodoo zombie. It's one of the better examples of a voodoo zombie film.
A documentary on that would be really interesting because I know certain things, like they had a lot of problems while filming that in Haiti. Not only having to deal with the Haitian government and stuff, but they had a lot of problems with people getting sick and just shit like that going on. Yeah. So there was a lot of fucking technical issues that were going on with the making of that film. And, it's quite impressive. I mean, sometimes it shows on the screen, too, that they were kind of limited in things that they were able to do because they were actually fearful for their lives at times, right? There was a lot of problems. So, I think a documentary and just a commentary and like all that type of things would be really, interesting. And worthy of a collector's edition for that film. So, the Shocker, on the other hand, it's more of an updated Friday the Nightmare on Elm Street kind of deal. Supernatural slasher type deal.
Movie's so fun.
It is, man. It's not a great film, but it's fucking so much fun to watch, and the soundtrack kicks ass. So it's just entertainment value.
Oh, yeah, I sent you that cassette. I forgot.
That's exactly how I feel about Shocker. Yes, it is a really fun film. I've always liked it since I've seen it, which was only about a year or two ago, to be honest.
To do on the Wesley Craven show.
The long lost Wesley Craven special on the Burial Grounds. I watched Shocker for the first time, and I really enjoyed it. And but I've always, also been aware that there are some major technical problems with that film, but it is a hell of a lot of fun. So Shocker, I would love to see a collector's edition as well as The Serpent and the Rainbow. I'm super excited that a deal has been struck with Universal because as Moodz and myself has said, that is something that needed to happen this year for Scream Factory to kind of give everybody a second wind. Yeah. And I do know that before they were going to release the Child's Play sequels 2 and 3, and then Universal put out that box set, so they decided not to. So my question to you guys is, now that they have another deal with Universal, and even though The People Under the Stairs was already released, they released it again anyway, they're going to do their version of it. Will that happen with the Child's Play sequels?
I can honestly see it happening.
Doesn't matter to me. I'll buy them.
When you think about it, the Chucky box set that came out, those are the two films in the box set that don't have any features. They're bare bones.
Yeah.
So if they want to tackle those,
travesty.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
the best one.
On those
because they're 2 is. So I think it would be kind of worthy of them to put those out, and I think they would do actually quite well, because I know that was one complaint that a lot of people have with that box set. They're like, okay, there's special features on the first one and part 4, Bride of Chucky and Seed and the new one and stuff, and like where's the features for 2 and 3? But if they want to tackle 2 and 3, I think they'll do really well.
Oh man, if I could imagine that collector's edition cover art
for part 2, I've just seen the factory and all kind of shit. Oh man, dude,
it'd be fucking amazing.
I would not be surprised, mark my words, if we see the Child's Play films get a Scream Factory collector's edition as well as any other Universal release out there that's already been released, because if they did it with People Under the Stairs, it's very possible that they will do it with other films. So be careful buying your Universal films out there, guys, if you don't want to see them have to double dip and shit like that.
I think another factor of Scream Factory possibly releasing two major titles like that is for sale issue or reasons too, right? You know, they've been releasing a lot of like chiller and sci-fi and IFC films and stuff. I don't know how their sales are doing on those.
Well,
but these are
know
the type of films that they need to release to kind of
the
contain.
titles.
Yeah, they have to release those. But I think they're perfect ones because of the like I said, the factor of people kind of complaining about those films not having special features at all. It's just a fucking film in widescreen, right?
Well,
so that was about all you got with in the box set was having Child's Play. I think three
has nothing either.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, I can just see the cover art right now.
I wanted to mention, since you mentioned sales with Scream Factory, it does seem, just based on the amount that I'm seeing pictures, the amount that Scream Factory, said that they're seeing, for the Babadook, like, it's huge. That film's selling really well right now, so that's kind of interesting.
6 people in one of my classes bought it.
Yeah, exactly.
6 people.
And how many people buy a Scream Factory release from your class usually?
Nobody but me.
Exactly.
And I don't even buy it.
Exactly. So the Babadook, it's in Redbox. Some people at work was talking about it, checking it out in the Redbox. It's actually at Walmart in both the DVD format and the Blu-ray format, which is I've never seen a Scream Factory in Walmart have a Blu-ray. I have seen some IFC Midnights have Blu-rays, but that's very interesting. That seems like a big hitter this year for Scream Factory. So good. Maybe we'll see. They make more money. Maybe they'll take more risks on titles that where maybe they wouldn't if they wasn't making any money.
Ghost Town. Can't say that anymore because it's fucking happening. So
yeah,
the Babadook is released under the E1 label in Canada. Isn't that fucking stupid?
Yeah, so you had to.
Canada is usually stupid. So.
yeah. Fuck Canada.
When now did we start calling Canada again?
Oh, Canadian.
We had a thing going there, guys. We had a thing.
But yeah, no, I actually just for shits and giggles, I saw it on the shelf at Best Buy now because all of our future shops are now officially changed to Best Buys. But so I went and grabbed it and looked at the spine. I was like, oh, E1, nice. I guess that's why I order my shit from the U.S.
Yeah,
so I get that special edition Babadook from Scream Factory. Fuck.
Best Buy had the special edition in the States.
Really? Which is some bullshit.
But they're the only ones that had it.
Yeah, so that's interesting because Walmart does have just the standard Blu-ray release of it.
It doesn't actually surprise me that the Babadook is selling so well because it was such a popular film last year, and people kind of gravitate or levitate to releases like that, and it's why not, right? So,
but I mean, if anything, it's great because that's a foreign film. It might not be subtitled, but it's definitely in a different language. That to see it kind of hit the mainstream over here a little bit is pretty cool because you normally don't see that every month or that many times a year. So definitely glad to see people talking about the Babadook because it's definitely a good film and deserves a lot of praise. So that is it for the news, guys. That's all of the news. We went through it. I think we did a pretty good job at not dwelling on things, right?
Yeah, it only took an hour and a half.
Kind of figured the news was gonna take a little bit, but that's how it goes.
Some nugs though.
What's that?
Some nugs in there. Nuggets.
Yeah, man. That high def or the high death news. I'm still sprung. Put it that way. Like really, really cool stuff. So, but yeah, getting into mood swings here. And the releases for April 28th, I believe is the new one. But you know what I'm going to do first? I'm just going to backtrack a couple weeks and just kind of throw out a couple notable ones that I've missed, just because of the fact that this week, the 28th, has absolutely no releases.
Not one?
There's one notable one, and that's it. It's really fucking bad. But the rest of the month was really notable. There was a lot of good releases.
There was
especially,
so many releases.
Yeah, I mean, some of the major companies were just bumping their shit out. I don't know. They're obviously not looking at each other's releases because they just bombarded the fucking market with releases. So going all the way back to, I believe, we probably did the ones on the 7th, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's right, because preservation and stuff. So the 14th was more Scream Factory stuff. Of course, we had the double feature of Carrie and the Rage, Carrie 2. They came out. The Babadook also came out, which we just discussed. Originally, Arrow was releasing Blood and Black Lace, but it got delayed. There's some rights issues going on with that. But more Scream Factory, class of 1984 came out. More notables, Snaps' Long Weekend came out. The Toxic Avenger Part 2 from Troma. The Woman in Black 2. Now, I've been hearing actually relatively good things about this. Have you guys heard anything about this?
I've heard bad things.
I've heard Jason Lloyd over at Horophilia say that it was actually pretty solid. Actually, shout out to them real quick. If you check out his podcast, Bloody Bits, he actually reviews every one of these releases, weekly. Like, he did Long Weekend, Class of 84, Woman in Black 2. Like, most of those releases, he covers them all. So definitely check that out if you're interested in new horror film reviews.
Yeah.
And then From the Dark, I've seen people posting about that. I haven't really read anything on it. And then that film Jinn.
Yeah, he said that one sucked too. It was like PG-13, some shit like that.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, is that what it was? It was PG-13? Wow,
yeah,
crazy.
I believe.
Roadside came out, and of course another one from Massacre Video, Spine, which I did pick up at Wasteland and watched, and it was awesome shot on video goodness. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And then on the 21st, we had Dollman vs. Demonic Toys from Full Moon, of course.
Was Charlie Band at Wasteland?
No, he was not, actually. I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to bullshit with him.
Was
but
Lloyd there or no?
No,
Yeah,
Lloyd
I
wasn't
would
there at the
love
promo
to
table
talk to
either.
Charlie Band.
Fuck Charlie Band.
I love Charlie Band. I just want Charlie Band to teach me his ways so I could just rip off the entire world.
Nice.
I was like, Charlie, just tell me one thing. How do you get people to pay $89 in shipping for a $10 Blu-ray release? How do you do it?
He is. He's like the David Copperfield of media releases. Or some shit. I don't know, man. I don't know how the fuck.
Yeah, because he goes into your pocket and he steals your money.
Exactly. He's a fucking magician.
Yep.
More from Scream Factory here. The Ghoulies and Ghoulies 2 double feature on the 21st. And now I just got this one. Well, I actually got that one in the mail too. But this one, a girl walks home alone at night from Kino, and it's a fantastic release. It's got a slip box and it's got a fucking graphic novel inside of it too. And it's just really, really well done release. Been hearing nothing but good things about the release, so I haven't had a chance to watch it, so it sucks. From Arrow Video, Blind Woman's Curse. More Scream Factory. I believe this is a chiller. No, I'm not even sure if it's a chiller film.
It's chiller.
Deep in the Darkness? Okay.
Yep.
Another one I have. I just haven't got a chance to watch it. Escape from New York, John Carpenter goodness. Really fantastic stuff right there. And then, of course, from Redemption, we've got the Pete Walker Collection, Volume 2. The first 4 films that are on it have been released solo from Redemption, but this box set comes with 2 additional films that haven't been. And motherfucker, that pisses me off.
Moodz is going to buy it.
I'm not going to buy this, actually.
That's bullshit.
He'll get it. He might not buy it right now.
I'm not.
I'll bet you a year from now he has it. He'll be like, it was super cheap. I seen it here. Had to get it.
Well, if it drops from like $60 to 20, if it drops to $20, I'm not paying $6. I already have 4 of these films.
So why don't you sell the other 4 films and then buy the box?
Yeah, do that.
No way, man. The fucking Redemption line's all numbered and it looks sexy and shit.
It does. You skipped out on Everly, though, which is a notable release. It's not that horror, but more thriller. That's Joe Lynch's film.
I've heard good things about that one.
Everly, yeah, with the beautiful Selma Hayek. More notable release. I heard The Coven is just beyond ridiculously bad.
Oh, God. It looks like it looks like a terrible version of The Craft.
It does, man. Yeah. It's like the exact same fucking cover.
I saw somebody say that when they were talking about the cover. It's like, it looks like The Craft.
It does. That is the Craft cover.
Yeah. This release right here from Full Moon, I've been interested about, Mansion of the Doomed. I believe it's a film from the 70s or whatever. But
that's a pretty cool cover.
You want to know the sad thing? It's already a penny on Amazon.
What is?
The Coven.
Oh God. Crazy. More notable ones here. This movie Sorrow actually looks kind of cool. I don't know. I'm always a sucker for these type of fucking
baseball.
You see this cover all the time.
Down, yeah.
you just see these. It's like probably a home invasion type film.
What's it called?
Sorrow. I don't know. Sorrow. Now this one right here, 10, it's got me intrigued, man. I love the cover. It's got like a cartoon piggy with a human hand. I don't know.
It's
just
like
looks
a
okay.
puzzle piece thing, though. It's like weird, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of looks intriguing a little bit. And then for the new releases for the 28th, I guess I'll just go through them all. I guess there's nothing really that notable. But The Barber, don't know anything about it at all. The Boy Next Door with Jennifer Lopez.
J-Lo,
really?
J-Lo, sexy
J-Lo.
and thrilling. It's sexy
Jennifer
and
Lopez's
thrilling.
name just made our podcast.
I
We
heard
actually
I
thought
heard
of
that
Chicken
movie's.
Post's name.
I heard that movie's horrendously bad.
Yeah, but
Oh.
Cinema Blend says it's sexy and thrilling.
Well, he could suck my dick.
Well, that would not be
And-
sexy nor thrilling.
The notable release from this week from Scream Factory, From a Whisper to a Scream.
Did you hear what they was doing with their if you
Film.
order directly
Film.
from their site?
Get a
I thought
piece
that
of
was
film.
really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
You get a negative from the
Yeah.
film.
yeah.
Cool.
You get like a
Slice of the negative.
a sliced off piece of the negative, and it comes with a card signed by the director.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. This one right here, of course, Lord of the Flies, the
Great
80s
movie.
version is being released by, I think this is all of this putting this out.
Oh wow, I've only actually seen that version. It's interesting.
Yeah, the original one is from the early 60s, I believe. Yeah, 62 or something like that, black and white. Yeah, of course, the 80s version is probably the more common one for
Yeah,
Are,
I mean, it's
you know-
actually kind of almost like a horror type film in a way, like just a
It is.
little bit more of like darkness, and it would totally be a
Mhm.
horror film. So,
it
Yeah.
still cracks me up when
dude, don't even say it.
it gets me every time. And that's really about it, man. Like, I don't even want to even go through
Ghost
that. It's 'cause
Stories coming out though from the BBC.
Ghost Story from BBC. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know
could
why.
there be
why-
a more generic like ghostly? It's literally called Ghost Story.
I
And it's
know.
a ghostly.
I don't know why Spaceballs is listed on here, but whatever.
Because
Wild at
it's
Heart, David
genre
Lynch, Wild at
stuff,
Heart.
So
Exactly. Wild at Heart's coming up from David Lynch. It's one of the strangest films. It's so fucking weird. But that's really about it. Like I said, the notable one from this week is From a Whisper to a Scream. And of course, I guess Lord of the Flies too, if you want to put that in there. So yeah, that's going to do it for the DVD and Blu-ray releases. I guess from the last 3 weeks, lots of good stuff. It's just been like, oh man, so
Yeah.
much fucking
Man,
money, man.
I haven't been able to buy a
Ridiculous.
single thing too, so it's just driving me crazy.
Oh, I should actually say, Gone with the Pope is being released on the 28th in Canada. I know it's been released down in the U.S. a few
Like
weeks
6
back,
weeks ago.
about a month ago, yeah, or something like
Yeah.
that. So, but yeah, so that's about it for the releases. Man, I can't believe after the rest of the month was so stacked with releases, at the end of the month is just like, no,
Mm-hmm.
we're cool.
Mhm.
We're just gonna taper it off a little bit here. So, you know
Yeah.
how it goes. But yeah, fucking Scream Factory. I don't know, man. They're putting it down this month, and actually next month and the month after that, I think there's like another 15 releases coming out or something. Like, that is ridiculous. They can't expect people to be buying all this shit. Fuck.
Yep.
So, anyways, that's gonna do it for the new releases, and now into the voice. We got voicemails and questions, right?
Yeah, we definitely have a few voicemails over the past 3 weeks. They actually was flooding in right before our last show, which was supposed to be the bad seed, and we never was able to record that show. And then we got like one or two from that point to this point. So, I mean, yeah, we're a little bit backed up. But first up, let's who do you want to hear from? Let's hear from Brandon, the good old pal Brandon.
Hey guys, it's Brandon calling in. This week, I'm actually going to ask each of you an individual question. For Moodz, I know you always teasing Jeremy about Oscar films. I'm going to ask you to pick your 3 favorite Best Picture winners. Now, I've happened to seen them all since the beginning of the Oscars. I actually was into all the Oscar films.
Yeah, fuck you.
For me, I mean, it's hard to pick just 3, but if I had to pick 3 that I watch over and over and that are some of my favorites, I would have to go with Annie Hall, Ordinary People, and Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, that's good points.
Jeremy, I've heard you mention that you're a big fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I'm wondering if you're also a fan of other musicals / rock opera type films. Some that
Oh,
come to
okay.
mind, of course, are
Okay, I can answer that.
Phantom of the Paradise, which we've
Right.
I didn't really care for Rebo, but if I had to, and Labyrinth, of course. Besides those, are you a fan of musicals? Because to me, some of the best musicals I've seen in the last 15 years have been Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which is actually one of my favorite movies, period. Probably my number 1 or 2 favorite movie of all time. Once, which is also one of my top favorite movies of all time.
I agree. That's
And
a
I
great
happen to
film.
really enjoy the Les Mis musical that came out a couple of years ago. So comments on that. JP, for you, I know you had mentioned once that you didn't see a Serbian film. I was wondering if you saw any of the other extreme cinema films, any of the August Underground films, Salo, Cannibal Holocaust, the Slaughter Bombadils trilogy, Men Behind the Sun, any of those, and what your thoughts were on those. I personally like most of them. I do not like the August Underground films or the Slaughter Bombadils films. They don't do anything for me. I am glad, thanks to Moodz and a couple other people, that I sought out other toe tag films like Sela Turcica, but to me, I'd be interested in seeing a documentary done about the making of Salo, because that film just intrigues me for some reason. I just want to know what actually went on for the making of that film. And Serbian film, as far as I'm concerned, is a really well-made, well-produced film. Yes, everything on screen is disturbing and nasty, but it's a really good film. And of course, Cannibal Holocaust is a classic. And Men Behind the Sun, to me, is the most appalling of them all, because based on true events, and these people got away with it thanks to the United States.
Actually, Brandon's voicemail did cut off there, but he did leave another voicemail to kind of, recap that.
Man, 3 minutes goes by fast. But that was actually the end of it. I just didn't want to leave it on a quick cutoff. Keep up the good work, guys. Like I said, I'm sending all of you guys each 3 movies. I think they've already been shipped. I'm going to double check that, but I'll let you know more details as it gets closer to shipping dates. 3 movies that I want you all to at least watch and give your opinions, because I think they're to me, they're 10s and close to 10s in my book. So I think potential Hall of Famers in there. All right, I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
So that's Brandon leaving us a voicemail there, asking each of us a question. So I guess, Moodz, do you want to answer your portion first?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I do. I tease Jeremy to shit about the Oscars and stuff, but I mean, for fuck's sakes, man. I mean, I'm a film lover. I own a shit ton of not only Oscar-nominated films, but winners, of course, too. So I did a quick little recap. I looked up on the Wikipedia page to find out exactly what the winners were and stuff like that. And I did realize, like, a lot of the nominated films were probably more of my favorite ones that didn't win.
Me too.
It's kind of odd how that works, but I did realize, I kind of went through the whole history, and the 70s, fuck, man, they had a lot of good winners. Obviously there was some really great runner-ups too, but the 3 that I kind of directed my attention to right away was, I'll just start at number 3. Is 1978's The Deer Hunter. I absolutely love this movie. I think it's fantastic. I think the one major problem with that movie, though, is that the wedding scene, it goes on a little too long. It's like 45 minutes of just this wedding party kind of deal. I think that's a little drawn out, but overall the film's fantastic. It's got some of the greatest Vietnam shit going on. It's just awesome. Number 2 would have to be Forrest Gump. I've watched this movie seriously so many fucking times.
I have too, man. It's one of the most watched movies I've ever watched. Yeah,
I absolutely find it to be one of the best structured film. It just works so well on all levels. Tom Hanks in my opinion, is one of the best performances ever on screen. I think it's just fantastic. Sure. It's so amazing. But my favorite one that I could come across is, I gotta say, it's The Godfather 2. Oh, yeah. I absolutely love The Godfather 2. I think it's such a brilliant film. It's so amazing. It's long, it is, but it's so worth the watch. If you've never seen the Godfather films, I think The Godfather 2 is far superior to the first one. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
Everything about it, though, the way the story's told, the acting, it's so brilliantly made. And of course, I was looking at some of the other winners, but I noticed the 70s had some really good Oscar winners. 1976, of course, was Rocky.
Rocky's
fantastic
classic.
film.
Which shouldn't have won, but
it shouldn't have.
What
but
should have?
It's a pretty good, film.
Yeah, I agree.
What was it up against? Do you know offhand?
1976, I believe it was. What was the one that should have won? Fuck, I can't even remember now. I don't have the page up, but it is kind of the odd one that did win, but it's still a great film. More from the 70s, man. Starting in 1973 is The Sting. The Sting, if you've never seen the movie The Sting, holy fuck is it ever good, man. It's such an amazing, amazing film. 1975, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I believe shouldn't have won that year either, but it's a great film. Another notable one from the 70s. 1977, it's Annie Hall, which Brandon did, mention. It's not my favorite Woody Allen film, to be honest, but I love Annie Hall.
Cairo, man.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Honestly, I know a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm a huge Woody Allen fan. I have almost all of his films, and I know it's so strange. I never really talk about it, I never show him or anything, but I really do gravitate towards Woody Allen. I find him very humorous, and he's an amazing filmmaker.
Oh yeah.
So Annie Hall I had to put in there, and of course in 2007, which is I think the newest one, is No Country for Old Men. I love the movie with a passion.
Cinematography is so fucking good.
The Coens brothers, to me, I'm such a big fan. I have all their films. I love the majority of them, but this one right here is just, oh man, I think it was definitely the best picture that year. But
I probably think that movie probably has the best cinematography of this in a long, 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 long time. Mm-hmm. It's fucking beautiful, man. I love that movie.
But I couldn't help notice. I just wanted to do a couple, my nomination, whatever. But I had 6 or 7 films from the 70s that just stuck out right away for me. So the 70s was a good decade, man, for films. So, but it was my fix. Godfather 2, man, what can I say? It's amazing. So
Brandon's pretty much seen them all. That's interesting.
Besides the ones that are lost.
Yeah.
There's a few that are lost.
Yeah. So, Jeremy,
all right,
what's your answer?
Musicals. I'm not a big musical guy, to be honest. Yes, I like Rocky Horror, but now that you brought up rock operas, I have seen my fair share of rock operas, that's for sure, and other movies with rock and rolls in some way or another. They're actually going to teach a class this semester, but it didn't reach not enough people enrolled in it. I was kind of pissed. They were going to do a rock and roll cinema class, which I thought would have been a fun thing to take, but people didn't seem interested in it, so it didn't get filled, which I'm still bitching about today. I even talked to the professor who was going to run the class. I was like, oh, I'm still mad about that. But I know you said Once. That is a really, really fantastic movie. It's really, really depressing, but it's a really, really awesome modern musical, and I think everybody should watch it. It's not your typical musical, but it's a really, really great film, and it's really, really depressing, and it has a really, really great soundtrack. So Once is really, really good. Tommy, which is The Who, I don't think I've said on here, Tommy is probably my favorite album of all time. I've listened to it so many times. So the movie's actually pretty good. It's Oliver Reed and what's his name? Oliver Reed and Margaret, and I fucking can't remember who directed it, but it's a fun movie, and of course Rocky Horror Picture Show and Frank Zappa's 200 Motels with Ringo Starr, and I think it's just Ringo Starr. It's a pretty it's a trippy movie. It never I don't think it hasn't got an official DVD release, but it's a really, really trippy and weird movie. So that's a good one also. But like I said, I haven't really watched too many musicals, so those are just the ones that I could think off the top of my head. I didn't even remember Once until you said it. So yeah.
Just going. Okay, sorry, JP, but just to go back to mine there, when I was 1976 when Rocky won Best Picture, I couldn't figure out what the film was. Yeah. That I think should have won. It's fucking Taxi Driver.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That I knew it was sitting there on the tip of my tongue, so I had to look it up. But yeah, that was kind of an interesting year because Taxi Driver, in my opinion, is one of the best films ever made. So come on, I mean, Rocky's a great film, but I don't know how Taxi Driver got edged out on that. That's crazy talk, but
bullshit.
Yeah, so both of those topics, I'm glad I didn't get asked either of those, because the one that I was asked was a little bit easier. I literally know nothing about musicals besides Rocky Horror Picture Show is one. So my question was, do I know any of the Extreme films? Have I seen any of them? And not many, to be honest. You did mention the August Underground films, and I have seen 2 out of the 3. It's really not for me, per se. I'm not really into them that much, but I did think that the first one, I actually did like the first one better than the second one, just because, like, the snuff feel of it, where it's, like, handheld camera, crazy torture stuff going on. I'd never really seen anything like that at the time, so I actually really did like the first of the August Underground films, but besides that, not really any of the other titles you've mentioned have I seen. None of the Slaughter Vomit Dolls or anything like that. Next up, we have a voicemail coming from Chris, who asks an interesting question. So
Hello, Horror Kings. This is Chris Vance, and I have a serious question for you guys. The question is, when the whole world has gone to shit, the zombies are loose, you have one best friend to help you survive this massacre, and your best friend is which horror character would you like to be with surviving the zombie apocalypse? Now, this character could be anyone from Jason, or to the clown from Stitches, or even Tomorrow from The Ring. Thank you, and please tell me why.
It's so fucking hard.
yeah.
That's a funny question.
I don't know. Moodz, what do you think?
Shit, man. Fuck, that's one I'd like to actually sit on and think about for a while. That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's creative.
Way to put that in the fucking comments, JP.
Did I forget that one? Sorry about that.
Yeah.
That's like the hardest fucking one.
Yeah. If I'm really thinking about it, I would probably go with like the Terminator or something. Might not be the most horror, but I do consider the original Terminator film to be, a horror film a little bit. So I would probably go with something like the Terminator.
I'm going to go with the Leprechaun. I'm going to go with Warwick Davis. And solely because, I just want him by my side, throwing out one-liners. And I feel like I would be, a little above his level, of course, in height and stuff. But I think it'd just be awesome to have like a little dude next to me and we'd be fighting zombies and shit. I just feel like I would have more of a part. Now, see, if I pick somebody like Jason Voorhees, he's just he's a tank. He's going to do all the work. I'm going to feel neglected and just not part of this.
And he's probably going to turn on you.
And probably going to kill me, yeah. But I feel like I can trust the little guy in Warwick, the Leprechaun. I feel like I can trust him. So, and plus he's going to make me laugh,
Maybe he'll bring his friend Frampercon along.
Yeah, exactly. The Vampyr. Yeah. So I'm gonna pick the Leprechaun because it'd be awesome. I think it would be fun times. I would try to film the whole thing too. It'd be fun. So.
What about you, Jeremy?
I don't know. It's a hard question.
You said Jason, I believe, maybe?
Yeah, but that's an easy way out. Victor Crowley would be cool.
I don't know, dude. I think even Jason would get overwhelmed by, like, a mall full of zombies.
No, he doesn't have any emotions. He wouldn't care.
No, but I mean, like, physically overwhelmed. Like, being, like, it covered in zombies. Like, I don't know how many... Because he's not that fast, right? So, I mean, I feel like they would eventually just kind of overtake him.
Well, is this like Jason Part 6? Because he's kind of a zombie himself?
Yeah, I was thinking more of the longs of, like, Jason Part 7.
Yeah, I could see him getting overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to my story, man. I'm taking Leprechaun, man.
Okay. Thank you for sending in that voicemail. Next up, we have one of 2 voicemails from Derek. This one is the first.
Hey guys, Derek here. I was wondering if you guys have ever wanted to check out a certain director's work, but have not done so yet. I know Moodz owns everything. Also, who is your favorite director that came out of the Corman era of films? There are tons of directors Rogue and Joe Dante to James Cameron, who also made good films in their own. I'd like to hear that, guys. Be wicked awesome. Hope they keep up the good work. Peace out.
Thank you, Derek, for calling in. My favorite that came out of the Corman era was probably Joe Dante, just in terms of his work that I've seen. I really like those films. I might not like him per se as a director so much, but definitely I like his work that he's done. But I don't know how much, that came from him specifically, besides the scripts and stuff like that other people wrote. And the question about the director that I have never really checked out their work, of course, Argento and Fulci would probably be the two big ones because I've only seen a couple films from each of them. Jeremy?
Yeah. I don't know much about Corman. I haven't watched too many Corman movies, to be completely honest, but Dante's a good choice too, for the same reasons that JP said. Directors that I want to watch that I haven't seen, Bava, of course, both of them, as I talked about in my last update. I haven't seen or have too many of their films, both of their films. And then Todd Browning, a lot of his earlier stuff with Lon Chaney. I watched a few that I'll talk about one later on in the show, but Todd Browning, he did a lot of interesting movies with Lon Chaney before Sound, and a lot of ones that have to revolve around circus in some way or another, freak shows. Freak isn't the only movie that Todd Browning did that revolves around the circus. He was very interested in the circus setting, and directing movies that have to revolve around the circus. I'll talk about that again, like I said, in a little bit, but Todd Browning for sure.
Moodz.
As for the first part of the question, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of who actually worked under Corman.
Yeah,
at the time. Did Jack Hill work? I'd probably go with Jack Hill. I'm pretty sure that he worked under. He had something to do with Corman back in the early 60s and stuff, and it eventually did, Spider Baby, and then went on to do, a lot of black exploitation films, which, I find that Jack Hill actually has done the best black exploitation films, in my opinion. His films are just fantastic, but
so many people has come from Corman that you could probably just guess somebody and you'd probably be right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think even didn't Coppola come from
Coppola, you mean?
Did I say Coppola? It's not like I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure Jack Hill did. So if I'm wrong, whatever, that happens. So, what was the other part of the question?
Is there a director that you just haven't got to see any of his work yet?
That's right. To be honest, man, I've checked out a shitload of people's work, but one guy that I have seen a couple films from that I want to check out a lot more from, they're just really hard to get over here. You really have to import a lot of his stuff, and that's Olaf Ittenbach. Of course, he did The Burning Moon, but he's done a shit ton of films, like German splatter films that always get talked about on forums, and people always mention his name as being, just a big, huge name in German splatter films. And I've only really seen about 3 of his films. I know he's got fucking 30 of them or something like that. So Olaf Ittenbach has definitely got to be my choice. It kind of bugs me I haven't seen more. So, and I love The Burning Moon. It's a great film. So
awesome.
That's
awesome.
my answer.
So yeah, next up we have another voicemail from Derek.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just fucking pulling your leg, guys. Hey guys, Derek back. After a very long
Texas
while.
Chainsaw Massacre.
Great few questions for you guys. What is your favorite mask from a non-franchise horror flick? And also, guys,
piece of cake.
If you were hired to design a mask for a horror film, what would you design? Hope to hear back from you guys as always. It'll be wicked awesome. And have a great. I'm glad you guys are back finally. Peace out.
So that's Derek.
That last part of the question's hard, but the first part isn't.
Yeah, what's funny? When I was going through the voicemails a little bit before the show and I heard that, I was like, oh my god, it's Mike or something. But it was Derek. He tricked me, man. He fooled me. So that was great stuff from Derek. Jeremy, what's your favorite non-franchised horror mask?
Could you guys guess? Could you guess? JP?
Babyface?
Yeah, The Strangers.
Oh, yeah, those are pretty good.
For sure.
Moodz?
I got to go with one that always kind of sticks out to me is the mask from Curtains. I think it's called the Hag Mask or something. That one's fucking just creepy, man. It's like an
honorable mention to Kroll's Skull, too.
Nice. Yeah, it's like a creepy kind of old lady type mask. It's freaky looking, man. I love that mask. I think it's fantastic.
And Alice, Sweet Alice.
Any more you want to throw in there too?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, I'll give a runner up to the owl head from Stage Fright for doing this. But no, the Hag Mask from Curtains, man. Fucking that old lady face. Oh fuck, it's creepy.
Yeah, me personally, I was going to go with Chrome Skull, but I wasn't sure if he's considered a franchise. I mean, he does have two films.
That's not a franchise.
No.
Yeah, okay, so I would probably go with Chrome Skull, but besides that, I've always kind of really liked the Leslie Vernon mask because of it's just a weird, simple mask.
I actually knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I thought that was originally going to be your pick, yeah.
Yeah, so Chrome Skull definitely is my favorite that I can think of. You know, I didn't really sit down and think of all of the masks out there, but there's definitely some cool ones.
Have you guys have you guys watched Curtains yet?
No.
No, but I do know the mask.
Yeah, it's fucking creepy.
Yeah. So. If I was going to design a horror mask for a slasher or something, man, you know, I really wouldn't know what to do. I would leave it to somebody else because mine would just end up looking stupid like the one from Gutterballs.
It's fun, man.
It's the worst mask that there is for a horror villain. It is. It is.
That hurts.
I'm
right
being
there.
honest.
No.
That's an honest assessment of that.
It's a fucking
crappy
bowling
mask.
bag. What else is it going to be?
It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Would you rather had a
You see this shit,
You could make it. You could make a pinhead because then it would be fucking. It'd be like Coneheads.
Yeah, or you could just do something else. You don't have to have a bowling bag mask.
Repping my gutter balls. My gutter balls.
I don't know, man. To be honest, you know, the first thing that came to my mind was just something ridiculous. I think something that I can't recall ever seen in a film. Probably because it's fucking stupid. And I would design some type of moose head, you know, just strictly you have this Canadian backwoods slasher film, and the dude is wearing a moose head, but like have it all mangled and set it in Moose Jaw.
That's Kevin Smith.
That sounds like the plot of Kevin Smith's next movie, but you know, that is actually less ridiculous than the bowling ball mask from Gutterballs.
Man, I didn't even think about Kevin Smith's movie either. But is he actually gonna have a moose head?
It's called Moose Jaws.
Yeah, it's set in Moose Jaw, and it's
I know, but
it's a killer moose. It's Jaws, but with a moose is what it's described.
Oh yeah, that's right. The killer actually is a moose, but no, this is gonna be human with the fucking, you know, a moose head, which would be ridiculous because they're so damn big. You'd never be able to it'd break your neck.
Why in Dare Girl they do it?
Yeah.
What about Jeremy?
But that's a deer. Design? Deer heads are tiny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, leave it up to the art department.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So thanks, Derek, for calling in once again. Next up, we got the homie Matt.
Hey guys, it's Matt again. And from listening to the last podcast, I know you guys brought up hood horror. So a lot of different movies that took place in the hood. And I think that they need more type of hood horror out there. Like I know when JP brought me on and did the one episode with Hood Rat and Tales from the Hood. Well, again, I want to say thank you very much. That was an awesome opportunity. Thank you for letting me doing that. I had a blast. But anyway, my question for you guys is, if you guys had an opportunity to make your own hood horror flick, what would you call it? And what would it be about, pretty much? And please don't say Sharknado 4 in the hood. All right? Thank you very much, guys, and I can't wait to hear more what's going on with the show.
Well,
all right.
I would set it on a boat.
Later.
Yeah. So
Hobo in the hood with a sawed-off shotgun.
That's Matt, obviously Matt Cantor. Matt did an episode of that short-lived podcast that I was hosting a while back, and we covered hood horror, and he did a great job on that show. Matt, maybe you should look into doing some podcasting. Love to hear you. And what do you guys
Hey, we
think?
can always have him as a guest on here.
That is
He's
true.
Free during Friday afternoons. I know we're all in different fucking time zones because I'm all the way in Canada and shit like that. We can figure out something, man. You can come on and guest host, and we can shoot the shit.
I would
talk
love
about
to have
hood horror.
I would love to have him on. That would be great. Matt, if you're ever available on Friday afternoons, hit us up. We'll plan something out, buddy. And what do you guys think? What would your hood horror be, Jeremy?
I'm a shitty person to ask.
Honestly, man, I don't know. I didn't really think about this too much, but I was kind of thinking of a very simple type story about
The whitest fucking person there is, so don't ask me.
So basically, this girl's coming home for Thanksgiving. She's in school, and so she's driving home for Thanksgiving for the weekend, and she has to drive just the way she took. She has to kind of go through a hood. Anyways, her car, of course, breaks down. And a couple of hoodsters, they decide that they're going to, help her out, quote. But they don't really help her out, of course. They end up raping and killing her. So, of course, this happens in the hood. But, of course, these gangsters and stuff, they don't know who her brother is. Now, her brother is a very, very, yeah, his brother's Ice-T. No, he's he's very white. He comes from a white suburban neighborhood. But the thing about this character is that he's a shapeshifter. He can shapeshift. And he gets...
You lost me. It was going good, man.
No, that's the thing. It's just, it doesn't even have to make sense. Her brother is just some random shape. Like, he's a normal guy, but he can shapeshift. And so basically he's kind of like, in a way, he's kind of like a superhero. So he goes on the fucking rampage, vigilante style. But the cool thing about this, it's not
I have
just
no idea what the fuck's going on.
It's a fucking revenge story.
It's not that hard to follow, Jeremy.
Really, dude, his sister he goes into the hood to seek revenge, but the thing is, he's a shapeshifter, so he can shapeshift into fucking either humans, animals, even objects. So now, this whole movie's taking place in the hood.
I'd shapeshift into a dildo.
Why not? And then you go and fuck these gangsters right in the ass. But that's the thing. That's kind of the cool twist. You don't just have a vigilante story where it's not Death Wish, he's in the hood and he's just fucking shooting people randomly and shit like that. This guy can shapeshift, so he's fucking shit up like that. But it's in the hood. But the thing is, he's a white guy. And he's just in the hood, and he's seeking revenge for his sister's death. There you go. He's a white dildo. Shapeshifts into a white dildo. But whatever. All the details they remain to be. So it's a vigilante story, but it takes place in the hood. And he's a white guy that can shapeshift into a dildo, apparently.
A white dildo.
You got to throw that shape-shifting story in there. It's not your average vigilante fucking revenge type story.
You started off all serious, and I was like, I love these type of movies. The vigilante, even if it's been done a million times, you can write it clever to do something different. I just lose the damn shape-shifting dildo part.
No, that's what's fucking awesome about it, man.
No,
it's that he can shapeshift into a black guy.
No, he's going to shapeshift into Beyond the Mississippi, and he's going to kill people as they watch it.
The whole shapeshifting part is what separates it from your average revenge story. People are always just exacting revenge on people and going vigilante on motherfuckers. You gotta throw a little bit of a twist in there, man. This guy can shapeshift into one of their homeboys, and then he kind of infiltrates that way and fucks shit up, man. Come on, man. You don't see the humor in this?
But it's white dildo.
It sounds like Leprechaun in the Hood when they dress up and infiltrate the Leprechaun's lair when they're dressing up in drag.
Dude, that is fucking real people, man. This is shit.
All right.
Fuck that shit.
You can catch what's the title?
At least Moods? I came up with something like Jeremy. Hey, I'll just let the writers write that one.
Exactly. What's the title, Moodz?
Effort, man. It's called Effort.
What's the title? Do you have a title for this film?
Yeah, it's called White Dildo.
Okay, White Dildo coming in December 15th of 2015. The Indiegogo campaign is up on Indiegogo.com. Help fund Moodz, and you actually can win the dildo that will be used in the film.
And you can earn part of his beard, man.
And he's clipping his beard, and each individual hair will be mailed out to all the fundraising people. So please help out Moods' Indiegogo campaign.
Let me know if you guys see the humor in this, and it sounds like it could materialize into something pretty humorous and fun. It's not Sharknado 4, but this is a white dildo.
So mine,
cool.
I'll actually answer this one.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting that Matt brought up this because I had something in the back of my head for a very, very long time, and I didn't realize that it could, I never thought of it as like a hood horror, but I guess it fits. But I had always wanted to adapt Immortal Technique's Dance with the Devil to a short format. And I don't know if anybody's ever even familiar with that song, but it's one of the most brutal, like, twist type songs. It's like a story that I've ever heard, and I thought that it would be like a great short film all the time. So that would be
that
my
song
answer.
Is actually longer than some short films.
Exactly, it's like 6-7 minutes long.
It's like 7.5 minutes long.
Yeah, so if you've ever heard that song, it's a really interesting, deep song that's kind of just punches you in the stomach in a certain way. Could be a great, short. It really could be if it was in the hands of the best person, which is not me, but if it was me, that's what I would do. I'm not going to spoil the song, but trust me, it's very intense, and it's very it lends itself very well to film.
This could be the start of something new, adapting songs into movies. Instead of taking a film and adapting it into a TV series, why not just take a song, make a film out of it? That's a good idea, man. I like that.
Yeah, so if
creative.
You've never heard it, I highly recommend checking it out. It's one of those, even if you're not like a fan of hip hop, I think you can appreciate the storytelling in the song. So yeah, that's my answer.
Cool.
Yeah, that will not be on Indiegogo, but if Moodz' film gets funded, then I'll think about throwing mine up there.
Well, if that one gets funded, then everyone else's.
But then you're gonna get the sequel, double-ended White Dildo.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
After that, guys, we have voicemail from a Rob.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia. My first question of the week. First time ever calling in to ask a question, so here it is. I hope it's a good one. What was the most terrifying experience you've ever had in a movie theater? I know for me it was Nightmare on Elm Street. I was only 14 years old, and it scared the crap out of me. Before that, I think I remember the milk truck scene from It's Alive in '74 when it was at the drive-in, sneaking a peek over the back seat. Jaws, I know I saw in the theater as a real small kid, but my only memory of that was, I swear that fat lady got me. I know she didn't, but that was my memory as a little kid. Anyways, so what was it? What was your most terrifying experience? I know, again, for me, it was a Nightmare on Elm Street. I was only 14. I'll never forget it as long as I live. I was in the movie theater. I think I was all by myself. A weekday matinee. My mom dropped me off. And, again, it scared the crap out of me. And I don't know if I've ever had an experience since then in a movie theater. Then again, it's a little bit harder to get scared these days by these movies. But I was only 14 then, and I'll cherish that memory forever. So what was it? The most terrifying experience you've ever had in a theater? I cannot wait to hear. All right, bye.
Very enthusiastic voicemail. I love it. Thank you, Rob from Georgia. So, Jeremy, what was your most terrifying moment in a movie theater from watching a horror film?
The Strangers, for sure.
Yeah?
That movie scared the living shit out of me, man.
How old was you when that came out?
When did it come out? 2007?
Yeah, somewhere around there, I think.
So, 2000, like 14?
Okay, so around the same age. He was 14 as well when he seen Elm Street.
Oh, man. That movie built on suspense so well, and it scared the crap out of me. And I still think that's probably one of the scariest movies I've ever seen in general. Not even in theaters, just in general, yeah.
What about
Very
you?
basic movie, but it scared the crap out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Moodz?
Oddly enough, the film that scared me the most in the theater is actually not even a horror film. I know this is very, very odd.
Yeah.
It is, man. It's the end of Stand By Me when they reveal Ray Brower's dead body. That fucking terrified me, man. That body looks so real and those cold, dead eyes staring up. I'm not joking. I had nightmares for a couple years after that. Mm. I would always think about it and it would terrify me and it fucking literally gave me night sweats and shit even thinking about it. But I'll never forget that, watching that in the theater and being like, I froze, man. I froze and like nothing even ceased to exist at that moment but that body. And it just burnt itself in its mind. It fucking terrified me, man. Like, Oh, even thinking back on it, it was just so surreal. Like, it's just, I can still kind of feel that tension that I had. And I was like, I don't think I said anything on the way home. I was like terrified, man. But yeah, oddly enough, not a horror film. I don't think I ever had a really terrifying experience in the theater, to be honest, with a horror film. But yeah, I guess that's my answer. So stand by me.
Leave it to Stephen King to still scare the shit out of you in his non-horror efforts.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. So me personally, I really didn't see a whole lot of films in the theater growing up. I was more of a renter. I'd only really seen like the Scream films in the theater, and I mean those really aren't like scary. So I mean I wouldn't have an answer for that question, but the films that scared me the most in general was Pet Sematary, the Zelda scene, of course, another Stephen King. That just terrified me when I was a kid. It, burned into my memories, and that's the only film that ever gave me like a nightmare. But the most scary film that I've ever seen in my entire life that affected me more than any other film was The Blair Witch Project. I seen it at the perfect time. I watched it, rented it. I was 100% convinced that it was real. Everybody in my family was telling me it was real. I was about 8 years old, watching it, and I live in the woods pretty much. So out my window, I could see trees, and Maryland's, not that far away from me. So I thought about the witch traveling. Even though you never even see the witch, I was convinced that you've seen the witch or you like knew of the witch. But I was like, I bet she travels. I used to lay in bed at night and just think of all these damn scenarios that would just drive me crazy. The Blair Witch Project is a film that if you didn't see it at the right time, it's easily just something that could seem
dismissible.
Dismissible. But to me, it was one of the most terrifying experiences, and that's why I think it's one of the best films ever made, in terms of horror, that is. So yeah, Blair Witch for me, but I didn't see it in a theater. I wish I would have, because maybe I would have been less scared of it around a bunch of people.
I actually did see that movie in the theater.
I remember when they were talking about that movie when it came out.
Yeah. So, good question.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And finally, guys, we have one last voicemail. I saved this one for last because I thought it was pretty awesome. This is from Tyler. He was drinking a little bit, so he calls in and leaves us a voicemail. It runs about 2 minutes and 11 seconds.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Tyler. You probably heard me on the message boards before. I'm just gonna let you know I am blackout drunk right now. But I've been with the podcast. Episode 1, fucking awesome podcast, man. Great podcast. First thing I ever started listening to, I moved on to stuff like Skeleton with Vanilla Laser. You guys still are number 1. So, sick beats going all the way to episode 50 that you're going to make it. That's fucking awesome. You're probably going to make it to 100. You guys are legit. But, so my question for episode 49, though, is, so, here's the scenario. I'm about to get my tax money back. So I'm obviously going to spend that money getting a new tattoo. I already got a horror sleeve. But the bottom half, I'm about to finish it. The bottom half of my horse has to be all John Carpenter. All John Carpenter, man. I already have the fog. I already have In the Mouth of Madness. The back half of it is going to be Halloween 3. I know
What the fuck is he talking to?
Fun of me. It's all about him. But regardless, so I need one more centerpiece. And I'm asking you guys, I have 5 choices. What do you think it should be? My choices are Christine, The Prince of Darkness, They Live, The Thing, and Escape from New York. I have, right now, I have The Fog in the Mouth of Madness, and above that I have Phantasm, Suspiria, It, and American Mary. So it's all horror above that. What do you guys think should be the last thing that fills in my horror sleeve? Calm down. I'm hinging on your guys' answer. This is just know whatever is going to be inked on on my body for the rest of my life hinges on this call right now. I'm putting this on you guys. Thanks. Keep doing what you're doing. Congrats on 50.
So that is Tyler. I thought that was quite an awesome voicemail. He starts off by saying, that he'd been listening since episode 1, and I really don't know how many people are out there who have been listening since episode 1. He said he's moved on to other podcasts, which are great podcasts like Banana Laser, Skeleton Crew, but he still says that we kick the most ass, and we're legit, guys. Did you know that? We're legit.
He's probably the only one since day one. The only guy.
Man, American Mary. That's dedication right there. I would never get American Mary tattooed.
Yeah. That's
Moodz, I think you're the best one to answer this question.
You know, the thing is,
you have a horror sleeve.
Yeah.
I want to get a tattoo.
Out of those choices that he gave, you know, the first thing that came to mind was Christine, but then when he said he didn't have the thing, just having that, you know, that image on, I would probably go with, it also depends which one you're going to get. Like, I can't honestly think of which one you're going to go with, but if you pick the thing, or that's what I'm picking, the thing. So, but I'm visualizing, like, you know, certain things from the film, and I don't know, that would be mine anyways. So
yeah, what was the other choices again?
Christine, Prince of Darkness,
The Thing.
The Thing. And there was another one too, I thought.
I don't know. Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go with The Thing.
Which is very iconic too, and but I would probably go with The Thing. That's just my personal choice because I think that would, that would fit in with the other shit.
You're ever gonna finish your sleeve, Moodz?
Yeah, eventually.
I knew we were talking about that a little while ago.
Yeah, I've got like a shitload more to put on there too, and I know it's just.
When's the last time you got a tat?
It's been a couple years, man. It's been a while.
Gotta get back in the chair.
You know what I think it was? I think the last one was They Live. And
that's right there.
I started thinking, because my initial thought was let's do The Thing. You know, it's Carpenter's best in my opinion. It's so iconic and things like that. But I started thinking of like They Live seems like it could be an interesting tattoo depending on what you've took from the movie.
Yeah.
Like there's like I could see you put like one of the buy stickers like on the sign, maybe like the alien faces and stuff. Like I don't know how much room he has, but definitely probably an interesting choice would be They Live. But The Thing is great as well, so I think Moodz is going with The Thing. I'll say They Live. What about you, Jeremy?
I think a Christine would be a cool tattoo.
Yeah,
just a small one. I mean, just a car. But
Uh-huh.
you would have to know what it is, I think. I think The Thing would be probably the best one out of those 5. They Live is a really good choice too, though. There's a lot of things you could do with that one.
Yeah, that is a good one actually.
Yeah.
But then I like the Escape from New York too. Like there's a lot of things you could put into that too. So I'm such a big fan of that movie. So, but then again, they're all good. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Tough.
we sound a little undecided, so I guess you're going to be hanging on, waiting a little bit longer.
Yeah, I say The Thing.
Okay,
I say The Thing.
So they're going with The Thing. Majority rules get The Thing tattoo, but this voicemail is a little late, so he's probably sitting there in the tattoo chair, like waiting on our reply. As we speak.
Where are those fuckers?
Yeah.
3 weeks.
But thanks very much for following us from episode 1. I mean, I just think that's amazing that there's at least one person that has been listening that long, and thanks for all your kind words, and definitely thanks for calling in and stuff. You rock, dude.
Yeah.
So that is the end of voicemails.
Oh, that's it for the voicemails?
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for phoning in. That was a large amount. I mean, probably due to the fact that we've been gone for 3 weeks, but awesome. Had fun answering those good questions. And yeah, moving along into the Coroner's Report, courtesy of Rue Morgue of Weird Stats and Morbid Facts. This one is coming from the brand new issue, April 2015, issue 154. And they're actually, they did a main article on The Changeling, which is Canada's chilling ghost story. Canada's chilling ghost story. Classic from 1980. We all know the film, right? Yeah, I didn't really think too hard about this, but I'm probably just gonna go with this one right here. Now, honestly, pronouncing this is this is like on a whole different world right here. This word, man, holy shit, it's fucked up. But I thought this was just kind of funny. But it's I think it's ithalophobia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ithalophobia. And that might be close. Anyways, Athalophobia is a morbid fear of seeing, thinking about, or having an erect penis.
I thought it was going to be something like that.
Are you fucking kidding me? There's a
fear of an
phobia
erect
about
penis?
erect penises?
Dude, there's a phobia for everything.
But like, who has this? Who has this phobia? Dykes? I don't know,
not
man.
politically
That
correct.
preachers, maybe, right? Preachers.
That's not politically correct.
I know that was rude, but I'm just joking. I'm just joking because theoretically, you know, if you're lesbian, you don't like
There you go.
erect penis. I'm assuming. I don't know, but no. But seriously, this is a very odd thing to have. I mean, what do you think percentage-wise of people have this? Like,
Point zero zero zero
1
one.
out of 3. Jeremy,
I know.
looking at you.
What? That makes no sense.
Did you hear I said that? What? No, preachers,
sense.
right? I mean, like, that's the only people that I could really think, right? I mean, not really sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I think
Well, I
that's
don't
so
have that
intriguing.
problem, so fuck you.
It would
think that's so
probably be women, maybe. Like
I mean,
certain
men-
like weird like women. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
know.
Like, because it
if
says
you were
the
a guy
fear
having
of
this,
seeing, so maybe that, I don't know. But why just
like, seeing or
erect?
thinking-
Why
but-
wouldn't
but
it
it's-
be like all penises?
Isn't that strange though? Like it includes thinking about it though too. Like that's crazy. Like just seeing, I can see, or
It
having.
has to be overly
Okay.
religious people are the only people.
But it says or having an erect penis, so it does apply to males too. So
there's probably a small percentage.
yeah, it's just a really weird one. I thought that was rather
That's
funny.
That's definitely strange.
Yeah, it is.
But
definitely
there is like a
step.
phobia for everything, so it doesn't
yeah.
surprise me.
And I do apologize for using the word dyke. I was just joking. I just thought it kind of applied.
Oh,
But-
dude, come on, man.
You know what I'm saying.
Come on,
You know-
we're obviously just fucking jokesters around here.
Yeah.
Don't take
But yeah,
it
just
serious.
when I first read that, I bursted out laughing. Like I was reading it, and there was people around me, and I bursted out laughing. I was like, "Fuck, what the hell?" Makes sense though. There's a phobia for everything, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So
All right, so that is going to conclude Mood Swings, and yeah, moving on to the WWW portion of the show, which is what we watched this week. And yeah, who wants to go first? Jeremy, why don't you lead us off this week? What did you watch this week?
All right, so I'm going to do 2 movies and then a pick of a week this week instead of an IFC. So I guess the
Throwback.
first... What?
I said throwback.
Yeah. First movie I'm going to talk about this week is a film from 1932, and it is I think it's Danish, if I stand correct, and it's a film called Vampyr from the year 1932.
I know this one.
So this movie, so when this movie came out, it has an interesting production history. This movie was thought to be lost for a very, very, very long time until the 70s, where it was discovered and it got cleaned up and people saw it. But the thing is about this movie, like Dracula, Universal recorded a Spanish version as well as an English version, but those movies, of course, were completely different, and a lot of people actually prefer the Spanish version over the American version. Now, with this movie, they actually filmed a German version, a French version, and an English version. All the same thing, but they just dubbed the voices over for whatever country. And the English and the German versions are still lost, and the French version is what we still have today, and that's what most people see. So this movie, came out in 1932, right about after, Don Juan came out in 1926. That was the first movie with the soundtrack. And then Jazz Singer came out in 27, which is, the first movie with synchronized sound. So this movie came out, 4 years after the creation of sound. It's still an early film. After 1931, you start to see, sound really, really pick up and become what we know today. So 1932, it's a year after sound, become pretty a normal thing. So, but the sound in this movie is still pretty poorly, to be completely honest. I know that, it's lost and the print wasn't taken care of, but that's probably my biggest complaint about this movie. But the sound really isn't a big part of the film, to be completely honest. It's more about the atmosphere. This film is one of the best atmospheres, I think, in early horror history. That's for sure. He just loves to build on shadows, and camera movement and set pieces and just a whole bunch of other things, aesthetic things to build a sense of mood that I think was not achieved at this time. So the film is a pretty story. We follow this guy Alan. We don't know why he's going to this place or anything like that. It's never explained, which, I don't think we really think is important. But, like I said, it really doesn't achieve on this story wise. Like I said, so he goes to this room in this hotel, and this old man walks into his room and he says some stupid things, and he gives him this letter that says to be opened upon my death. So we go and we see him go to this huge castle. And inside the castle, he sees the guy who owns the castle get shot and murdered. And we start to figure out who murdered this guy. And we learned out it's a vampire who's this old lady. The vampire's an old lady, pretty much. And very, very creepy vampire. And there's a really, really interesting scene where he's dead and he's out of his body and he's looking at his body inside of his coffin and how it's being treated before he gets buried and things like that. And the look on his face is one of the creepiest things I've seen. I have to be completely honest. If you guys have a chance to look online at some of the images, that's probably the main one you're going to see. The main character's face looking into at himself, and he just has a really expressionless face. So this movie's okay, to be completely honest. Like I said, it has a really, really fantastic aesthetics to it. Story, don't watch it for that because you're not going to get very much out of it. But if you want an early sound horror film to watch, I'd definitely give this one a chance. So 7 out of 10 on Vampyr.
Yeah, this one, Vampyr is definitely suffers from plot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that you're just, what? Why is why is this going on kind of thing?
Yeah.
But the movie's really short though too, isn't it? It's only about
minutes.
70 minutes long, so there's not really a lot of time to develop a lot of that stuff. But you are right about the aesthetics in the film, like the set pieces and the shadows, and it really does have like amazing atmosphere to that film. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's more of a visual thing than anything. That's what you're going to watch the movie for.
Yeah.
I do agree the sound is whatever. It is what it is. But at the same time, like you said, it's an early sound film, so that's kind of expected. So you can't get really down it, that much. So, but no, if you're into something visual and really kind of odd vampire type story, I guess, I don't know really how to explain it, but I enjoy it, man. I think it's a fun film.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's a really quick watch, though.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes by super quick. So
yeah.
Is that a Criterion?
Indeed.
Yeah. I guess I'll go next. The film that I'm going to be talking about is actually courtesy of Brandon, who sent me, and Moodz and Jeremy 3 films each, which is an extremely nice gesture. The first one is The Ninth Configuration from the year 1980. This film is set in a post-Vietnam era where a lot of the soldiers who were in Vietnam and, in the military at the time are crazed, and they are sent to a asylum that is in an abandoned castle up on a hill. Then they send in a new sort of psychiatrist to come in and find out if these patients are faking it or if they are actually crazed, and then if they are, try to rehabilitate them. This film has Joe Spinell in it in a small part, Stacy Keach in the large part, and of course Tommy motherfucking Atkins is up in this bitch as well.
Yeah,
but he has a small part as well. Man, this one is really hard to put into words.
Yeah, it's a very confusing film, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is a little confusing. I do feel like I got the overall structure. There's definitely some things there that I'm not familiar with, like the Ninth Configuration. I do know a little bit of what that means, but I don't know enough information to kind of just know exactly what that title was meant for and things like that. one of the interesting things about this film is that there's times where you're kind of just lost and you're like, you're not sure like what the hell's going on, but then you realize like that is what is supposed to be happening. Like it's just nonsense is what's going on. It's just crazed lunatic talk, which is very fun because it's a large portion of the film is just a hodgepodge blended up language.
Like letting these characters play out their fantasies and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's really what it is. It's just a bunch of characters doing what they do is be crazy. Well, apparently. Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't actually finished the film yet, so I'm not actually sure how it ends, but I got most of the way through it, but I kind of get what's going on here. Yeah,
so initially we just see that they are crazy, and then they start indulging in their whatever thing that they're doing while they're crazy. Like, for example, one of the characters is trying to do Shakespearean plays with dogs.
Dogs. Dude, the dog was killing me, man.
When you brought me a chow.
Yeah.
It just looks like a huge mop. I was laughing every time I saw it.
I didn't know if that was real or makeup, like attachments or what. Like, what the hell kind of thing is that? I would never. I
don't even know if it is if that's real hair or not. I'm not even 100% sure.
It's like dreadlocks on a dog.
Yeah.
But there's like, how does that dog see though? Like the face is completely covered. It's so funny, man.
It's hilarious. But I like Joseph Bonnell's parts because he was just like the assistant. It was really funny. But I mean, a very interesting film.
Yeah.
That is definitely very well done. You can see there's a lot of effort put into it. It didn't like blow my mind, basically.
No, me neither.
It was very high level crafting going on in the film. And it was decent. I don't really have many complaints. It's actually not really a horror film at all. It is listed as comedy, drama, horror. Definitely has comedy in there. This dark sort of almost tragic comedy. It's like this tragic comedy though, which I thought was like a weird blend of things. The drama is there, and the horror is very lacking, but overall, solid movie. Definitely very good. I give it about an 8 out of 10.
That's what I gave it to.
Yeah?
Yep.
All right.
Moodz. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't give a rating because I haven't finished it yet, but I think I have roughly a half an hour left in it.
No, it's like 2 hours.
I just like I said this week, it was so tough, and I was watching it I started at like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm surprised I even got that far into it. But from what I've seen, the thing that I was loving about this movie though was the structure was so odd and it was quirky with really, really funny moments. But you know what was really selling this movie for me was the fucking acting, man.
Oh, the acting.
The acting was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I loved it. I always forget his name. I know he's passed away now, but the guy that played the priest in The Exorcist, he's
and The Exorcist 3.
Yeah, and The Exorcist, and fucking so good, man. Like his dialogue was amazing. Just the way he was. It was keeping me intrigued, man. It was just he was very, very entertaining.
Do you think
as a
he
character.
was insane? He wasn't insane. I don't think so.
Which guy?
The guy who was put on the play with the dogs.
Yeah, like he was doing the Shakespeare plays with the dogs and shit.
Oh yeah. You're asking me if he was crazy?
Yeah, do you think he was crazy?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I
think he was putting it on.
Now I have to, and that's the thing. Like the thing I liked about the film because it keeps you kind of thinking.
Because him and the astronaut were talking in the tree, and he didn't seem too insane when they were talking in the tree.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
They touched on that in the film though too, didn't they? Even they even talked about that, didn't they?
What?
At one point about that scene.
Oh,
where they were talking like he doesn't really seem that crazy. Like Stacy Keach's character's there to kind of analyze, I guess, what's going on, but he's kind of letting them do their own thing. And I don't know. I think it's
about
structure.
levels as well. Like there's crazy and not crazy. I'm not sure. Like it's kind of up for interpretation, I guess. I don't know, Brandon.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to finish this one and kind of get back to you guys on this. So I'm assuming some things kind of wrap up and. Especially with
there's a very uncomfortable scene at the end of the film. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, I'll eventually get to that. But I was liking what I was seeing so far. It was, like I said, the acting was fucking blowing my mind. It was really great. So I just wish Joe Spinell was in it more.
Yeah.
You know, he's here and there. He's kind of like, he pops up in scenes all over the place, and I'm like, Joe, where are you? But yeah, very
Love
cool.
you, Joe.
Cool to see Tom Atkins in that film, though.
Yeah, I didn't even know until.
Yeah,
was
he's
looking
very
it up.
minor, and it took me a couple seconds to even realize, like, because I was looking for him the whole time because I knew he was there, and then I was like, oh, there he is. I didn't notice him.
Speaking of, there he is, there you are. But yeah, you guys give it 8s?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely an 8.
I'll definitely get back to you guys on that one with my full thoughts on that once I finish it. So can't really say a whole lot right now. All right, so the first film I'm going to talk about today is one from 2012. I believe it got released DVD maybe 2013. I'm not sure. From Dire Wits Films, they also did or put out Mutantis, of course, JP's favorite film in the world.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
This film is absolutely nothing like Mutantis at all, and it's called Seventh Day. Now, basically, this movie is about kind of like the day in the life of this really odd character named Alan. He's just a fucking weird guy. He's kind of like a pervert. He kills people. But it's got a really interesting narrative to this film. It's almost psychological in a way too. So basically it kind of follows, like I said, the structure is done day by day, and it follows this guy named Alan, and that's what he does. He basically hunts women. And he kills for absolutely no reason. Like, he just kills people because he really doesn't care for people that much and stuff. You know, but there's an actual narrative to this. Like, he's literally talking to he's almost breaking that fourth wall, you know, kind of thing. Like, he's kind of talking to the camera a little bit and stuff, but there's like this narrative that's going on. And he's explaining what his reasons are for killing people and stuff. And it's kind of like, you know, an addiction to him, and, you know, it just makes him feel better. But the interesting thing about Alan's character is that he seems like he's, you know, almost very smart, and he's almost likable at times too. So which makes it a very interesting kind of story. So you follow Alan, and it's day by day, and he calls his victims selections, which I thought was such an intriguing word to use. And it literally shows him. He'll like wait in the park and wait for women to run by, and then he'll just stab and kill them and then just go on with his day. And it's kind of like this throughout the whole film. Like I said, with this voiceover narrative, like quite literally. And, but you know, the thing about him is that he's kind of like he wants to love somebody. You know, he actually does want to get involved with somebody, and he works as a dishwasher in this restaurant, and he falls for this girl named Denise, I believe her name is. And, you know, he's got a thing for her. But, you know, everybody around him kind of teases Alan and stuff, and they know that he's just hopeless and he's almost crazy, does weird things and stuff. But see, the whole film is just following this character. It's just a huge character study, but it's almost psychological at the same time. It's like this character, is it inside his mind? Is this stuff really kind of happening and stuff? And I have to say, this movie was fantastic. It really was executed great. It doesn't run very long either, which is interesting. So it gets right into it. Like right from the opening scene in the film, it's just like bam, and it doesn't slow down. It keeps the exact, you know, perfect pacing throughout the whole film. Really interesting. It's got some good gore, like I said, but not a lot of characters. You know, it's just him and, you know, some people that he starts killing off one by one. There's this hilarious scene with his drug dealer. I actually started laughing out loud pretty hard in this one scene. I won't give it away if you haven't seen Seventh Day, but I don't know, man. I highly recommend this movie. It was great on all levels. About 75 minutes of pure entertainment. Cool story, but the thing that intrigued me the most was the usage of the word, you know, selections. That just seems so psychotic to me, you know, and just so versatile. It was weird to use that word. It's just like, this guy is actually a bona fide,
badass,
you know, serial killer. Like, he's completely doesn't give a shit about people, and they really showcase it too. Like, you know, when he stabs this girl in the park, and then he talks about, like, even he's like, I don't really, you know, like to rape them, you know, a lot when they're alive, and sometimes I'll do it when they're dead. And so there's like a little bit of necrophilia going on there, but there's this kind of a wave of emotions in this film too. You kind of feel sorry for him at times too, but you can't really, because he's killing people. And it's a fucking fantastic film. Really, really fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. But that's pretty much all I'll say about it, because it's a short film. I don't want to give anything else away about it. But I definitely highly recommend this one. I give it about a 9 out of 10. So.
All right. So, like I said a little bit earlier, I'm not going to be doing a IFC film this week. I'm just going to do a pick of the week. like I said earlier when we were talking about directors that we wanted to explore a little bit more, I mentioned Todd Browning, who of course is the legendary director who directed Freaks. Well, everyone remembers him for Freaks and of course Dracula, but he's actually has quite a bit of films earlier on that he's directed that are extremely, extremely awesome and underrated, especially a lot starring Lon Chaney, starting in 1927 with the film I'm going to talk about, which is called The Unknown. And then he had, the same year he had the famous Lost film London After Midnight, still starring Lon Chaney, which is probably the most sought after Lost film out there right now that everyone's trying to find. And of course that came out in the same year in 1927. And then he had a film called The Big City, came out in 1928, also lost, which it got lost with the London After Midnight MGM Fall Fire in 1962. And then you had another film called West of Sandbar, which is another circus film that I checked out. So we'll be talking about the film titled The Unknown from the year 1927, probably the best out of the 5 films that Todd Browning did with Lon Chaney, for sure. So this film, of course, like I mentioned earlier, takes place in a circus, and we follow Lon Chaney's character, who is known as Alfonso the Armless, and he is known to have no arms, and his specialty is throwing knives at his partner, who's played by Joan Crawford, an early young Joan Crawford, in one of her first roles, I think. So as the film goes on, we start to learn that this guy, Alfonso, is actually a fraud, and he actually does have arms, but he just fakes it and he hides his arms behind his back, and that's what he thinks is going to get him into sleeping with Joan Crawford's character, because Joan Crawford has this phobia of men with strong arms. We never really figure out why or what happens, why she has this fear of, guys who are strong. But, with Lon Chaney's character not having any arms, she feels safe with him until one night where one of the main ringleader finds out that Lon Chaney actually has arms, and Lon Chaney murders him, and Joan Crawford's character sees this, but there's lightning and rain, so she can't see his face, but she notices that he has 2 thumbs on his right hand, and now she's trying to figure out who this person is, and trying to find this guy who we learn out is her father. So as the film goes on, we see Joan Crawford lose this phobia of, having strong arms, and she starts going out with a strong man. And, of course, Lon Chaney's character gets extremely jealous and plots to kill him. And the way that he's going to do this is the strong man has this act that he has 2 horses running on treadmills on either side of his arms, pulling his arms, and he's supposed to have enough strength that the horses won't rip off his arms. Well, of course, Lon Chaney gets into this, and he rigs the treadmills for the horses to actually be able to run off the treadmills, and the guy's arms get ripped off. And that's pretty much the end of the film. There's not really too much going on, but Lon Chaney ultimately dies somehow with these horses. I'm not going to explain it, but pretty much he dies, and that's it. Lon Chaney's performance in this movie is fucking fantastic, man. He is so good. Like I said, this is a late sound film. All of his films that Browning and Chaney did were silent. So this is really good. I recommend you guys check this one out. Like I said, Browning definitely liked his circus movies. If I stand corrected, he grew up in the circus in some way or the other, so he's highly influenced with that kind of theme, and we see him direct, a few films before Freaks, which of course is, his most legendary film. But West of the Sandbar, which I talked about a little bit ago, also takes place in a circus, and I watched that one too. While it's not as good, it's still enjoyable and still interesting and things like that. But The Unknown, right behind Freaks in my opinion. I think it's a little bit, it's free. I mean, Dracula. I'm throwing out Dracula. Dracula's Dracula. I'm not really going to throw that film into the mix when I'm talking about Browning, but besides Freaks, this is probably his next best film, and it's worth it just for Lon Chaney's performance by itself. Now, you could get it in the TCM, Turner Classic Movies, Lon Chaney's box set that they came out a few years ago. Check it out. It's really, really, really solid. 8.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Cool.
Moodz, can you go next?
Yeah, no problem. So next up here is a film from 1972, which is, of course, my Italian Stallion of the Week. This is one that's been like heavily bootlegged over the years and stuff, and it finally got a DVD release a few years back from Dark Sky Films. And one that I've always been curious about seeing, finally got a chance to see it, and it's called Tragic Ceremony. This one's actually starring Camille Keaton in an Italian role, which, of course, this movie is actually in Italian. So, of course, her dialogue is dubbed over in Italian. So it's kind of weird to see, but basically has a really simple premise to it. It's about they call them hippies in this film. I wouldn't really say they're hippies, especially since the main guy that's driving this like pretty awesome kind of doom buggy thing that they're traveling in comes from a pretty wealthy family. But anyways, they're referred to as hippies or whatever. So they're coming back from the day at the beach, and of course they run out of gas. They kind of make it to this gas station, and it's just the weather's shit, man. It's pissing fucking balls on them and stuff. And now they try to fill up their vehicle, but they don't have any cash on them. All they have is like credit and stuff. Of course, the gas station attendant's like, fuck that. You're not getting any gas. I don't take credit checks, whatever the fuck it is. And he wants really no part of that. And he's being a real jerk to them and stuff. So then he finally decides he's going to give him a little bit of gas, but he's got an agenda here. He basically says, I'll give you enough gas so you can get home and, you can get out of here. But he gives them enough gas. So basically they'll make it up the road and they'll run out of gas in front of this kind of abandoned villa type deal. Anyways, that's exactly what happens. They run out of gas. Weather's really shitty they run out of gas in front of this villa or whatever. Weather's really shitty. So they go inside into this villa, and basically what they think is abandoned. They go in there, they get invited in by this couple, Alexander and his wife or whatnot. And so they kind of set up shop in there. What they don't know is that these people are actually planning like some kind of satanic ritual and sacrifice, and it's all set up. It's all set up. The guy at the gas station was, part of this stuff. But they need to sacrifice a female to go through with their plans and stuff. Anyways, it doesn't go according to plan. Anyways, the four of them, they get into this crazy violent standoff with them. And what happens is the female, the Alexander's wife, ends up getting killed by them. So the four of them flee this horrific scene where just mass violence just happens and stuff. Of course, the police get involved, and the police automatically assume that these four are responsible for this massacre that happened in this house because all these people died. And they're kind of being compared to the Manson murders in a way, because the cops are labeling these people as hippies. And this is like shortly after, the Manson murders and stuff like that. So they're kind of calling them hippies and, Manson kind of doing, that type of thing and stuff. So anyways, there's this police investigation, and a bunch of crazy shit starts happening, with them trying to get away from these people and whatnot. I can't really say what's really going on. I don't want to give anything away, but anyways, that's kind of the premise of your film. Now this one right here is a really interesting film. It's got like really fantastic gore, but it's very kind of gothic feeling. And there's a lot of scenes, even in like the light and stuff, that feel very gothic-y and stuff. Very, very awesome film. Really interesting stuff, because it kind of got me thinking. I'm like, what the fuck is really going on here? There's police investigation. What the hell's going on here? And, of course, everything is wrapped up at the end. You figure out what's going on, of course. And actually, in the end of the movie, this police officer actually gives you the whole roundup of exactly what's going on. He kind of like recaps everything for you. It's actually a really funny scene. But overall, really fun flick, man. Really great Italian film that I think is really highly overlooked. I don't think a lot of people even know about this one. This guy also directed Murder Obsession from 1981, which was his last film. The director is Riccardo Ferda. He did also Vampyr from the 60s too, which is known as a very gothic classic type film too. But you can see those elements in this one also. Very kind of unique type film with a really awesome kind of twist ending to it. I really enjoyed it. It's a fun flick, man. If you like these these kind of gothic type, what the hell's going on kind of story to it. I highly recommend Tragic Ceremony. Now, this one right here, I remember actually Tom talking about this on his Italian month, and it's kind of got my memory going again. And I was like, oh yeah, I really want to see this one. Definitely an underrated gem. Awesome flick. Give it about an 8.5 out of 10. I don't want to give too much about it or away from it because it kind of ruins. I've even kind of briefly read through some reviews on IMDb. Don't read the reviews because some of them are so spoiler. They don't even say spoiler, but they're giving spoilers in there. Don't read anything. The synopsis on the back of the DVD is very, very kind of to the point. So check out Tragic Ceremony. Awesome flick released by Dark Sky Films. 8.5 out of 10.
Cool. That's one that I don't think I've heard of, but Dark Sky will be talking about another one of their releases later. But for now, I'm going to do my segment. This week, it's going to be a closer look at. This is where we take a look at a edition of something. We're going to do another Scream Factory one. But first, the film, The Howling from 1981. We follow a news reporter played by Dee Wallace, who is kind of investigating a serial killer, and she has a near fatal encounter with said serial killer. She's kind of all messed up over it, so she decides to go out to a remote mountain resort where there is a bunch of residents who are kind of a little strange, and they turn out to be a coven of werewolves. So when I first seen The Howling, I really wasn't that big of a fan of it. I have said that before on the podcast. I was like, I didn't really care for it too much. This time watching it, I definitely loved it pretty much. This film actually came out on April 10th, which was my birthday, but it came out 10 years before I was born. I found that kind of interesting. Directed by Joe Dante. There's just something about the mood of this film that I must have just missed the first time watching it, because it has this dark, creepy, foggy, very well lit areas. The werewolf scenes actually are very effective. There's a lot of great creature effects and practical effects in this film. I will say that I didn't love a lot of the characters, and I think Moodz actually does like a lot of the characters, besides maybe Dee Wallace and the poor man's Tom Atkins, lead male character. I didn't really like too many people besides Dick Miller, because Dick Miller, of course, is just very awesome. I love that section of the film where he kind of runs this occult type shop. Sold some people some silver bullets later on in the film, but I mean, I just wanted more of that, kind of the mythos of the werewolves and things like that. But overall, man, just a great werewolf film that I was completely stupid for not appreciating the first time I watched it. I give The Howling about an 8 out of 10. Now on to what's on the disc. Of course, this is released by Scream Factory. The first thing is an interview, runs about 18 minutes long, with the producer, the executive producer, Stephen Lane. Now, this was a really cool segment because he literally just goes and talks about each of the Howling films. It's like a mini, and by mini, I mean very mini, documentary on all of the Howling films. It's kind of like the Crystal Lake Memories or the
Even the
Elm
shitty
Street
ones?
Legacies. Yes, all of them. It's kind of like one of those condensed into about 18 minutes. So it really kind of made me interested to see if they would do a fleshed out hour and a half long version of that. He starts with Howling 1, talks a little bit about it, talks about the sequel and their idea behind Howling 2, goes into Howling 3, the Marsupials, which is the weird Australian one where he's kind of weird about it. And then, all the way up
all of
to...
them?
Yeah, I believe so.
Wow.
He produced all of them, and he said that they kept, doing well on video and stuff like that. Even gets up to Howling Reborn, because I believe it was just going. I can't remember, because some of these features are taken from the MGM original release, special edition, but I do think this was a new produced Scream Factory special feature. But that was a really cool interview. Then there was a interview with the editor. That one was okay. An interview with the co-writer, also decent. Then you have the Horrors Hollowed Grounds which is revisiting the filming locations of that, hosted by Sean Clark. One of my favorite special features. It is so awesome to see these locations in present day, especially the Howling locations, because a lot of it is out in the woods, a lot like in a resort in these weird locations. Some of the houses are still up and standing. That was just so cool seeing that stuff. And Sean Clark is just a funny, awesome host. I would love to see more of those on the Scream Factory discs. And then, of course, we have making a monster movie inside the Howling. That's a little decent vintage featurette. I believe that was on the MGM release. Nothing too great on that one. An interview with the stop motion animator runs about 8 minutes, because there was actually a lot of stop motion footage that they never ended up using in the film. I believe they only used one shot in the entire film, and they created so much stop motion footage. So the guy kind of talks about all of his process and overall, like, what it was like to not have any of it really used in the film, all his hard work and stuff. That was a very interesting thing, because there was tons of footage that they did in stop motion. So after that, Unleashing the Beast, the Making the Howling, 48-minute long documentary. Man, that's a great documentary. Follows the mythology of the film, the werewolf mythology, all the good stuff that you expect in a documentary. Dee Wallace, something about her, man, watching it, I almost feel like she's a little crazy, like real life crazy. The way that she comes off when she talks, just, I don't know. I just feels like she might be a little out there, not in a negative way or anything like that, but I don't know, just something that I picked up. I could be wrong. Of course, then you have deleted scenes with optional commentary, outtakes, the extra trailer, photo gallery, and then you have 2 fucking feature-length commentaries. One with Joe Dante, Dee Wallace, Christopher Stone, Robert Picardo. Solid. Both of them are solid. And the other one was with the author of the book, which was even more interesting, I thought, because you got to kind of learn the differences between the book and the film. And that one was moderated by, I believe, Michael Felsher, who is like one of the main guys behind Scream Factory. So that was a pretty cool thing. One of the most stacked Scream Factory releases. Highly recommend The Howling. It's definitely, out of the first 15, 16 releases, definitely up there with the best.
Yeah, I got to dip into those special features a little more.
Doesn't that sound stacked, dude?
Yeah, it does. I would love to see a full, like, a couple hour documentary on the whole Howling series, because
it's such a weird.
I'm sure there's a lot of interesting things to tell about that. So
you got a mind.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the rights to the Howling.
It's just such a big franchise, There's probably lots of really interesting things. I bet you the documentary would be more interesting than some of the films themselves.
Yeah, and I almost feel that way about a lot of films, like Supernova we bring up all the time. Sometimes the stories about a film can be more interesting than the actual films.
Yeah.
Q.
Like all the Hellraiser movies.
Exactly. I would love to see a full-length franchise documentary on the Hellraiser films. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be pretty fucking sweet. Alrighty, so that is going to conclude the What We Watch portion of the show. And yeah, what we all been waiting for. Is that what it is? Yeah. The featured review for episode 49 is a film from
2011.
Is it 2011?
Yep.
2011. From the director, of course, of Rec 1 and 2. I can't really pronounce his name too well. You guys want to attempt that?
JP, you're Mexican.
Wame Bulgario.
Come on, you don't even know how to say your own kind.
No, not at all.
Oh man, that guy's name
Spanish,
is so.
dude.
That guy's really? So hard. His name is so hard to pronounce. But anyways, the guy that directed Rec 1 and 2. And yeah, from 2011, Sleep Tight.
Of course, from Spain.
Spanish film, yes. So you have to read this one.
So first and foremost, thank you, Brandon, for hooking us up with this film. We decided to make it our feature review this week. Very, very generous of you to send us all 3, films.
Great
DVDs,
films.
Blu-rays. Awesome, dude.
Yeah, Brandon, that was very, very awesome of you to do that. Just very out of the kindness of your heart. That's just amazing. So, but yeah.
Somebody want to hit the plot, not it.
All right, Sleep Tight from 2014. I'm just going to quickly read off the IMDb description of it.
2011, not 2014.
2011. Fuck. I don't know why I always say 2014. Well, anyways. Storyline. Apartment concierge Cesar is a miserable person who believes he was born without the ability to be happy. Now, doesn't that happen to a lot of us, really?
Yeah, it sounds like something I know.
Exactly, right? As a result, he decides his mission is to make life hell for everyone around him. A majority of the tenants are easy to agitate, but Clara proves to be harder than the most. So Caesar goes to creepy extremes to make his young woman mentally break down. Things get even more complicated in this twisted relationship when her boyfriend Marcos shows up. And that's essentially what it is, yeah.
Very original movie.
Yeah.
Very
so,
original.
Thoughts on this one? Original.
It's interesting. You basically 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters in the entire movie, and most of those 3 of those aren't really important. The old lady, and the 2 cleaning people, but Clara and Caesar. Even the boyfriend isn't really important, and the little girl. So 3, characters that you're pretty much following for this entire 102-minute film, and you mostly spend most of your time with Caesar, and you really, really learn this character and his relationship with his mother and past experiences and how he got to this place. And he's a very troubled person, and really, really well done writing, and you learn how this character acts, and you think that what's he going to do to talk himself out of a certain situation and things like that. It's a very manipulative person.
Yeah, he's like one step ahead of everybody, and I love the concept of I'm so unhappy, and the only thing that gives me a shred of happiness is seeing other people not happy.
I know. I love that story. I love that approach to a film right there. There's no other reason why he's doing this to these people besides the simple fact that he just feels that they need to be miserable just like him. It's
and
really fucking demented
like
and twisted
in the world.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a great, set piece plot point. At first you don't really know what's going on, and there's kind of just one reveal where you realize like what he's doing. It's early in the film, but I still thought it was a great reveal.
Yeah, it's an interesting structure too because it kind of follows day by day.
And it really doesn't the ending. It really doesn't have a complete ending. It just kind of ends. And
I loved the ending.
Yeah, me too.
My kind of ending right there.
Yeah, it's twisted, man.
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
The ending is like the punch, man. It's just like to me, it was a really good film, and that ending kind of took it above and beyond that really good mark at that high water mark and moved it up a bit.
Yeah, it's a squirmy ending, that's for sure. The whole film is it's a demented film, man.
I like that his character is fantastic because, like you said, you know what he's up to. He's demented. He's kind of sick in the head a little bit, but you kind of almost in a way can relate to him. Sometimes when you're miserable, you just want other people to be the same way, so you can kind of relate to him a little bit. But he is really actually very intelligent.
Sometimes you get annoyed when everybody around you is happy and you're not.
Yeah,
and that's what he's doing, but to a greater level.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of sympathize with him a little bit, right? So, but
that brings up a good point because we're following him the entire story. We're seeing it from his point of view. Yeah. So it's almost like you almost need to find a way to relate to your lead character, even if he is a terrible person. You start trying to find these connections and these bonds with him, or else the movie sometimes doesn't work if you can't find some relatability.
What's interesting too, like when you first get introduced to the character, I felt like he had been working there for like a long time, and then you find out that he's only been there a short period of time. Like it seemed like he had this relationship with the people
because he's very manipulative,
and he's very good at creating quick relationships.
But he was very likable to everybody. Like everyone really liked him, and it just seemed like he'd been there for years and years, and he was like the doorman or the concierge, whatever you want to call him. And it just seemed like he had this ongoing long-term relationship with all these tenants. But in reality, he'd only been there for a short period of time, which really adds to his manipulative, personality and stuff, right? I thought that was actually quite interesting because you learn he does actually kind of lack in his job a little bit, but he's so good with people, though.
There's a scene late in the film with Miss Veronica, the older woman with the dogs.
God, fucking brutal.
And yeah, I feel like that was like
what a
the
dick.
highlight of, because you see what he's doing throughout the film, but that was the icing on the cake where there
just
was
the
no
fucking truth.
It was just completely unnecessary to do to somebody.
I know
it was like, wow, dude, wow, man, no heart at all.
Nope.
That was a great scene. There's a lot of very good scenes in this film that are, I mean, I don't know how to really say it, but you're just kind of on edge. First of all, there's a lot of suspense. There's also a lot of moments where you just feel like that moment, the moment, for example, when the boyfriend and the girlfriend are sleeping in the bed and he appears, and what you find out, and man, the guy is a scumbag, man.
Yeah, dude, what he's doing to Clara throughout the film is just...
I don't even know what he's doing.
Well, he starts out easy. He starts out basic he wants to see her.
Well, he's trying to figure her out, what she... remember he's having a conversation with her and he's like, she mentioned something about how she hates bugs, and then he takes those drastic measures to fuck with her with the bugs and stuff.
What happens is he starts out with... very calculated. She's the one girl that is not easily affected by the type of things that he does to make people miserable. So he figures, okay, so she must care about her beauty a lot. Yeah. So he starts putting stuff in her makeup that makes her skin become irritated and break out in a rash. Yeah. And it's bugging her, but it's not destroying her world, and that kind of annoys him a bit, so he takes it a little further.
A little bit.
And a little further. And it's not all about that. I mean, obviously he's definitely very selfish, but what is revealed later in the film, kind of one of the big, exclamation points. He also is just a very he really enjoys what he's doing, and it's not just to make people miserable, but it's more sadistic.
Well, no, because it's because they showcase his patience. That's why it's so damn sadistic, man. It's all calculated step by step, and he's just willing to take the time, literally waiting underneath her bed.
Yeah.
Until she comes home, and then he's listening to her on the phone, and he's finding out things that way, and everything's so damn calculated and cold.
It shows you how good acting can make your film.
Yeah.
And you always hear me say, I always bitch about good acting.
But
this shows you how it can make a film.
I love one of the first scenes in the film there, when you this is when I thought that he'd been around at the hotel for a long period of time. Is, people are coming back and forth, and he's like, hey, blah, 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 hey, Carl, and then the little girl stops at the desk, and she already knows that there's something up with this guy. She's blackmailing the shit out of him, which you
that
don't
was an
actually...
interesting spin. Especially when he gives her the videotape. I was like,
it just kind of got into it. It just kind of got into it. They never actually showed, what she knew, but you knew that she was blackmailing him for something, and you learn right away. It's like, wow, this guy, okay, whatever. But that little girl, man, what the fuck? Dude, when she asked, he's like, okay, well, what do you want? Because she caught him again doing something that he wasn't supposed to, and she's smart. She's blackmailing him, getting money out of him and stuff. And then she's like, he's like, well, what do you want? And she's like, can you get me a porno tape? And I bursted out laughing, dude. I was laughing so hard. I'm like,
I almost got the vibe that when she said,
11-year-old kid.
Listen, but the thing is, I think that because she said, I want an adult video. And then when she got it, she looked really surprised. So I'm not even sure if that's what she meant. And then he just assumed. So it kind of made it even more weird. You know what I mean?
No, I just thought that he gave her something really odd, like a gay porno or something like that, and just kind of shocked her to see that image on there. But when she said adult film or whatever, I just assumed that's what she wanted. But I just thought it was an odd request for 11 or 12-year-old little girl.
Yeah, and that's why I think that she might have just meant a R-rated movie, adult. An adult.
That's funny because I never took it like that at all. I just wow, this little girl's. I mean, she's obviously smart enough. Not to say anything, and she knows how to benefit this for herself. So she's getting money. She knows what to do. So I just assumed that she really did mean porno because this is the only way that she could get it, and she knows that she could because she was simply blackmailing him.
Man, when she walked out of the building, she flipped him the bird. Oh man, that made me piss my pants.
Yeah,
it's laughing so hard.
There's one scene that is really well done. It's he kind of slips up a bit, and he gets stuck in a situation where he's trying to escape the room that he's in, and that was done so well, shot so well. The tension, man, it was just a great scene.
Not too much editing.
Yeah,
it was
very
long take.
Yeah,
a long take, and like it was really well done.
It's
the
like
cinematography was really good.
That's something I noticed too, man. Really long takes of like just good acting.
A cut will, it reminds you.
It's jarring,
right? Yeah, so it reminds you, and it kind of cuts the suspense a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, great scene. There's just so many individual scenes that you could pick out of this film, and you'd be like, this is good filmmaking, this is good filmmaking, this is good filmmaking, and you can explain why too. And that's what I love so much about films that are so well designed like this one.
Mm-hmm. I would expect it though, because you have to watch the Wreck movies, JJ.
I know. I want to do a show on them one day.
They're very, very similar, and that's why I talk so highly of them all the time. This guy definitely knows what he's doing when it comes to making good movies.
Oh yeah,
and original movies, and
he knows
smart movies.
He knows how to have a good ending too.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, like from start to finish, every aspect from camera work to the script, to the acting, to any aspect of filmmaking that you could think of, it's all top notch. There's really not one like hole or area that I feel like was a little, bit of a letdown or anything. Everything was good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's crazy, man. It's just such a simple idea, but
very simple.
It's executed so perfectly, and coming back to the acting, I thought it's just outstanding. Like, he really does steal the show though, man. Like, just the way he delivers and his answers, but it's the look in his face, man. It's so real. He just seems like such a real character and so fucking demented.
Yeah, there's not much to it, but just it's executed well. If it was executed badly, this movie could go to complete and utter shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just executed in a certain way and in a believable way that it just works. It really, 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 really works.
Yeah, and like, JP, you said there's a lot of individual scenes in this film that are fantastic, and it's too bad that we can't really just spoil the shit out of this and just talk about them all, but it really is, it is kind of like that though. It's just scene by scene, But yeah. I found the pacing in this film to be fantastic too. There's really no downtime, and you're just very intrigued on what is going to happen next.
Yeah, it flew. Hour and 40 minutes.
It just every scene you're just like, okay, yeah. But man,
there wasn't one moment when I was checking the time or wondering when it was going to be over, or even thinking about watching a movie. Like, I was just engulfed in it, and it was just one continuous moment throughout the entire film where I didn't really think outside of the film. I was just in the film completely. The guy is the character is so well written because he has tons of layers, and the guy will literally, because even the mother relationship isn't what it seems at first, and that was such a subplot, right? That really had nothing to do with the overall story arc, yet it still had
his relationship with his
and
mother.
It added to character development. It really let you know who this guy was, and he always finds a way out. Like, he finds a way to get out of a situation. He's very smart. He knows how to throw everybody under the bus. I mean, he just figures out a way, and it's not to where it's an unbelievable thing, because sometimes you're like, oh, typical, dodges the bomb at the last minute or whatever. But in this, it's done much more on a subtle level.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, fantastic film, man. Really great stuff.
Really good.
Yeah, definitely out of the three that Brandon sent me, definitely my favorite one.
Oh, yeah.
I did check out The Secret in Their Eyes, which was also a good one, but this one is the last one I watched, and it was the best one as well. Definitely love this film. Unfortunately, you can't really get into it as much without starting to spoil every single scene.
Well, that's the thing. It's, we can basically just we can go in circles about the character. just talk about how great he was and stuff. But yeah, like the editing and cinematography.
Cinematography is fucking
it's done really
fantastic.
well. But like even the editing though, it's edited well. You know, it's so it flows so perfect. But I think that's one of the best things about this movie is the pacing. The pacing is it's like a standard. It's just perfect. It never dips at all. You know, you never find yourself going, fuck, man, down moments, because everything you're anticipating the next move. This character is he's so conniving and so fucking smart, and it's beautifully shot. There's everything, all those elements make up it just makes a pace. You know?
He's really good at getting information from people and like, you know, just being a sneaky ass spy type guy where he's just like really good at figuring out what's going on, like the call triangulations and stuff like that in the film. I loved how the ending was shot with, you know, the way things were revealed and just the way that it played out was just, you know, perfect for me. And I mean, like you said, we can just keep going on and talk about the same things over and over again.
Now, like, if you were actually, you know, willing to do something like this as somebody, it's like a friggin' full-time job doing something like this.
Well,
like,
that even shows because his
his
actual job begins to slip and he gets into a little bit of trouble. Time. So, I mean, right? They answer like everything was thought out in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually kind of like thinking to myself and kind of joking about it. I was like, you know what? You know, his job is lacking so much in what he's supposed to be doing that he's theoretically getting paid right now to harass Clara and you know, make her life a living hell. And I kind of thought of it like that, and I was like, because nobody else really knows. It just kind of made me laugh. He's getting paid to fuck with this girl right now.
One more thing. There's a scene where somebody dies in a bathtub.
Brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my favorite look of somebody dying in a film. Like, that's done perfectly. The amount of blood, the way that it's, you know, squirting and stuff like that. It's not over the top. Like, that is what I think a murder looks like. And I was so proud of the way that they did that.
I thought the scene just leading up into where that character is in the bathtub was executed so discreetly, and like just it was haunting how much like the character, how he thinks about it at first. Did you notice what he did?
Yeah.
You know, like how that whole scene goes down. You're like, fuck, this guy is sadistic, man. He knows exactly. It's calculated. I mean, it wasn't calculated, but you know, as soon as that thing goes down, he knew exactly what to do. And I was like, damn. That was kind of crazy, man. I was like, wow, that's really cool. But
like you said, man, this one goes by so fast. How long is this movie? Like an hour 45?
42 minutes.
Yeah, so
yeah, it's just under 2 hours. Yeah,
there's an old saying that says, you know, the first 90 minutes are free, and you have to buy the rest of the time anything after that. And you know, this is like the perfect example because you don't notice it at all. Like, they paid for it in good filmmaking. Every additional minute past the 90-minute mark.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
me
agree.
too.
Yeah, it's definitely worth
buying
to read to the end, man. Like, you know, great ending. So,
Ratings?
I don't know. I really don't know what else to say about it because we can't just
start giving
things away.
Yeah. Ratings?
Jeremy?
This movie's fucking awesome. 9.5 out of 10.
Nice. I agree. It is fucking awesome, in the words of Jeremy. I highly recommend everybody picks it up. I'm surprised that I haven't heard more about it, and I give it a 9 out of 10.
I also give this film I shouldn't say also, but no, this movie is just, wow. I was never bored for a second, and that's one thing that I like to really kind of factor into my reviews is, you know, obviously I do a lot of the entertainment, but this one's really well done on all aspects. There's nothing bad about this film. So I'm going to give it a 5. No, I'm just joking.
I was about to say.
No, I'm also going with 9.5 out of 10. And for some odd reason, I don't even know why I'm not giving it a 10 because I can't find any real flaws in this movie.
Wait, is that a Hall of Fame?
That actually does make the Hall of Fame. A 9.5, a 9.5, and a 9 does add up to 28. So Brandon got his wish. Our next inductee into the glorious Hall of Fame is Sleep Tight from 2011 from which director, Jeremy?
I can't pronounce.
I think it's Jamie Balguro.
You're wrong.
What is it?
It's
I don't know.
Jamie Balagiro. I don't know how.
I just said that.
I know it's so hard. I think that's right. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah.
so that's pretty awesome, guys. We haven't had a Hall of Fame since the Halloween show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All of pain. All of pain.
Yeah, one day we will create the Hall of Pain. I'm just lazy right now, so thank you, and thanks everybody. That was awesome. Had fun.
Yeah, awesome, man. I'm actually really glad that one made it because it's the type of film that definitely should be in the Hall of Fame.
Chainsaw Massacre
Would also be in the Hall of Fame, probably.
I'm very surprised that more people don't talk about this movie.
I never heard anybody talk about this one.
Perfect.
Maybe just no one's seen it or something. I don't know. Maybe, but I mean, we're on the same level. Like none of us really knew too much about it before going into it. So, but yeah. So that is going to conclude episode 49 of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror. Of course, we will be back next week with the big 50, episode 50. So make sure to get those voicemails in before next Wednesday, which is, what did you say that day was, JP? That was the 29th.
Wednesday is the 29th. And so, anytime Wednesday night, hell, even, early into the, 2 a.m. type hours will be cool. I'll still count it, but just definitely make sure you get it, before like Thursday morning or whatever.
Yep, sounds good. Alrighty, guys, Jeremy.
All right, thank you everybody for listening to episode 49 of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror podcast. So if you want to follow the man Moodz himself, you can do so at youtube.com/Moodz616. If you want to follow JP, aka the man who hates Pee Wee Herman, you can do so at youtube.com/DoubleShotJ. And also always, you can follow me on my channel, youtube.com/NESRuler22. And if you want to follow us on the Facebook page, facebook.com, search bar 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror. Join the Facebook page. Lots of awesome people over there. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at 22 Shots Podcast. That's at 22 Shots Podcast. And if you have any questions, you can email us at 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror at gmail.com. That's 22 Shots of Moodz and the Horror at gmail.com. And you can always follow us also on our website, 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror.com. That's 22 Shots of Moodz and the Horror.com. And you can leave us your voicemail for episode 50 by the 29th of April. Ooh, I just pulled a Canadian. 724-426-6665. 724-426-6665. Yeah, so that should do it, folks, for episode 49 of the 22 Shots of Moodz and Horror podcast. We'll be back next week with the big 50. Talk to you guys next week.
Peace.